You can, sir, please. There has been over 40 years of peer-reviewed research on this subject, and kids raised by gay parents fare just as well, if not better in some circumstances, than kids raised by straight parents. That's how I know that it doesn't do a harm and it actually does a benefit.
In the end, you will answer to God. You will answer to God.
Okay, I don't care, because God is failing to give me a good answer to any of these things. Why would I follow a God where it's going to do a net harm to kids who need a home?
We have the evidences of Scripture. Okay. I'm just trying to think what they were called.
We don't. You're probably talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls, but we don't have evidence of all these scriptures. We just have ancient reports, ancient people making claims. There's no evidence, for example, of anyone named Moses. There's no evidence that 600,000 Israelites were ever enslaved. What about stuff like that?
Yes.
Person who has hard parameters and said, this is right, this is wrong. It's very difficult to do that without then turning and understanding that has to come from God. Who else is going to decide what is right and what is wrong?
You can't just say, 'cause God. You're just deciding it came from God. You're saying your own personal opinion, and your opinion is that it's in line with God. Nobody knows what God said, dude, because God doesn't say shit. God apparently has a little book, and then apparently God talks to some people. So all we hear is people telling us what they think God told them. And how do we know that they're actually getting a message from God? These are questions that you can never answer. Are you going to listen to the pastor? Because he's hearing from God, right? So does he now decide that certain things are right and wrong because he's hearing from God? Aren't you then just instilling power, consolidating power to one person? They are having a subjective experience in which they are attributing it to God, but we don't even have any way of affirming or verifying that it actually came from God. So it's actually useless.
Okay, well, everybody was doing this to everybody for all of human history, and most people turned out okay.
Wait, you know what, dude? You're right. God probably caved to the peer pressure. He broke, man.
Because
the peer pressure was just too much for God Almighty.
You don't know. You can't heal in 2 days from anything even remotely serious. If you get a black eye, that doesn't heal in 2 days.
I don't think you. I don't care. It doesn't mean it's okay. Wait. If I go up to my child and
doesn't heal in 2 days.
Can you stop? If I go and slap my child and there's no long-term harm from that, like physically, was it okay that I slapped my child?
Yeah. I think if your kid does something,
so keep it. This is my final point. I needed you to just say yes, because here's the problem. You came on here and said, Hunter, you don't have any foundation for your morality or anything. Meanwhile, your foundation allows for beating kids. Your foundation allows for owning slaves and beating slaves.
Hey,
and you're telling me you're the one with the big, strong moral foundation.
Get your big own, man. I know you're desperate for those.
You realize that just if studies come out and contradict your intuitive feelings doesn't mean that study's wrong, right? You know, there's a lot of things that I have an intuitive feeling about that I recognize is just wrong. And I recognize that there is actual evidence that defies it. Do you know that when I was deciding to like stop being transphobic and everything, I would still get a little bit of that like intuitive sort of like a little bit uncomfortable feeling sometimes, just because like I'm not as familiar with trans people and whatever. You know that like putting facts over feelings doesn't mean you just cease feeling or having intuitive feelings or thoughts. For me, sometimes stuff might make me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but then I catch myself and I say, why am I uncomfortable about this? Is there a good justification? If not, then I ignore the fact that I feel uncomfortable by it. And you know what? Eventually I just stop feeling uncomfortable by it because there's no basis for it. That's what putting facts over feelings really looks like. It doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means that even in the face of contrary feelings, you put those facts first.
I'm feeling lost. I can't afford the cost. I'm in the boat without the row. I'm drowning in the sauce. Can't let go of broken flow. My feelings kill it all with loss. I'm feeling lost. I'm feeling lost. I'm feeling lost. Your body all but tossed. I'm feeling lost. I'm feeling lost. Trying to bear this cross, but Can't see the road, don't know where to go. A busted a brain, living it solo, kind of insane. High empathy, no show. Hijack a plane, use all my ammo. Like David Blaine, disappear below. Abel and Cain, delivering that blow. I get the range, no one, no smoke. Turning the pain, my mental health knows the pain. I empty my billfold, is in the brain. I'm biting my head, so go on and hate. At least I got backbone, just a fake. Rip off a cheap clone, by my days. Drugs and a loaded crush, your mistake. Thinking you safe alone, this disgrace. Angry and start to cry, not have days. Take it like that, you're phobia. I can't afford the cost. I'm in the boat without the row. I'm drowning in the sauce. Can't let go of broken flow. My feelings killed in Holocaust. I'm feeling lost. I'm feeling lost.
And I think we agreed on this standpoint that it's to give some sort of discipline, but it's also to get you ready for the real world. Because there's certain children that as they get older, yes.
No, in the
Once they-
real world, you're not going to get spanked. Preparing for the real world. Do you know what is incredibly important nowadays in the real world? Communication. You should know how
That's
to
not
talk.
happening.
Hold on, stop. You should be able to talk to your child and explain to them why what they did is wrong and why they shouldn't repeat that behavior. And you should be preparing them for the real world by teaching them adequate communication. The world ain't a porn movie, dude. You're not turn to monk.
You don't understand the ingenuity of children sometimes.
I have kids. You don't. So shut the fuck up.
I've been around kids.
That's,
Okay?
I don't know
was-
if that's good or not to hear, but regardless.
I'm saying you could argue that if my daughter
F myself.
is going to at 13 is going to be promiscuous, I'd rather have her be promiscuous with a 19-year-old than with another 13-year-old. In some ways.
5 minutes later.
When you
Well,
said that
here
you
I
would
am
rather
on a
your
500K subscriber stream.
Yeah, but you're being brought on here to be made fun of by 500,000 subscribers because of how
We'll
stupid
see.
you were and how bad your arguments were and how dangerous
Well,
the
we'll
things were
see.
that you advocated for.
Oh, okay. So you're not going to apologize. You're totally wrong.
Wait,
and
did you think I was
destroyed
calling you on here to apologize to you?
Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I assume so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not sorry at all. No, in fact, you know what? Actually, can I please rephrase?
You don't think you got trounced my last appearance? You don't think you got?
I
just
do have to
completely
apologize,
trounced?
actually, and I realize now. I would like to apologize for not being nearly mean enough to you the last conversation, considering that that's what you deserved, for how much of like a scum you were. So
Okay.
that's my apology. I'm very sorry. My apologies. I will do better this time. Okay, so 14-year-old with a 25-year-old. Is that now acceptable and moral in your opinion?
Well, is it moral if he's marrying her?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay, so this is why you're a pro groomer. Like this is the problem right here is that a 14-year-old, the Catholic Church, first of all, I don't care that they say it 14.
No, it's not-
You've
it's not a
established
Catholic
yourself as
argument.
pro
It's a
grooming.
natural
You've even
law
recognized the negatives, but you're still okay with it. So you're just okay with grooming.
Okay, I'm okay with grooming. Okay.
Cool. Thank you for admitting it.
I'm in favor of a little respect on the internet. I
Cool.
spent 2 hours trying to tell you a basic principle.
Maybe
You
if you could earn
refuse
that
to listen to
respect,
it.
I would give it
and
to you.
because you're losing, you retreat to this moral hysteria. Fuck you.
How come
I
every
double
time you
down on
rage
it.
out?
You're going down. You are done.
You're doing this every time. Don't hang up yet, please, bro. Come on.
Go back to being the creepy dude hanging outside the high school, you degenerate scum. A weak argument doesn't become strong just by tacking an insult onto the end of it.
He is completely correct, by the way. A weak argument followed up by an insult does not make the argument any stronger. A decent argument followed up with an insult is usually really fine, though. Also, I really hope that Matt fucking Walsh is not about to give me a lesson on optics.
You probably don't want to throw terms like degenerate around. Remember, you're the one in this conversation passionately defending the right of a doctor to give a child the same drug they use to chemically castrate sex offenders.
Yes, it's the same drug, but dosages is what matters here. This is like saying, did you know that some people are prescribed 80 milligrams of Adderall a day? Yeah, for narcolepsy, but if we're talking about Adderall for ADHD, it's usually just like 10 milligrams. Dosages matter for the condition you're attempting to treat. This is so simple. Well, Zerka, you have this very strange idea that if something is nuanced or complicated, and it kind of goes
Why is
over your little...
everything nuanced to you people? Suicide
Well, when it goes-
is nuanced?
what-
Suicide, you're saying, is nuanced?
Yeah, Yes. Why somebody
it's
commits
difficult, huh?
suicide is a nuanced issue. Is this Zerka's first baby steps in the real world?
I give you guys my flaws. I even tell you the girls that I've been with. That's how transparent I am.
It's kind of weird how you talk about yourself like you're a big, tough Sigma alpha male because you're open about your flaws, but yet I was open about my flaws and you called me a traitor. Remember, you called me Judas for leaving the right.
Yeah, give us the reason right now, on record. Why did you leave the right? Give it
There
right
was
now.
not one reason why. There were multiple reasons.
Oh
One of
my
them being that the
God.
right wing prioritizes
Your
conserving.
wife brainwashed you,
One
bro.
reason being that the right wing aims to conserve tradition, even if it's at the expense of other people's rights. For example, conserving traditional marriage is more valuable to them than allowing for gay people to have their rights
Oh, you're
respected.
gay?
How can you sit there and say how my wife should or shouldn't feel?
I think your wife should leave you,
What
genuinely.
do you mean?
Your wife should leave. Any man who says, well, I give you a lot of money, and so it's okay for me to cheat and break the promise I made to you, skippity hee haw, then yeah, no.
Now you're going to
She
mock
should,
my accent.
she should
Just
ditch you
because I'm from
immediately.
Arkansas, you want to mock my accent. I'm not sitting here mocking your accent. What the hell? That's not even fair. I'm just talking facts, and you're sitting there mocking me. No disrespect. I'm just saying.
You're not
sitting-
talking facts. You're talking a bunch of
talking
BS,
facts.
my dude.
Is
all
it a
right?
fact,
So,
Hunter, that I cheated on my wife, and I'll admit it, and she's still here? Why? Because I'm a high-value man. It's not really me doing it. It's my second brain. That's how men are designed.
yeah,
Men are designed to
This
sit
is such a cope. I'm sure God would be
It's
very
not a
proud
cope.
right now, my dude.
I'm unsubscribing from you. You know what?
You know what?
Disappointing.
Go unsubscribe from me. Stop. I can't believe you would consider yourself a fan if you actually think women should be submitting to the husband and it's okay to cheat based on the Bible.
I believe in gay marriage. That's why I'm
Well,
a fan
maybe
of
you should believe in straight marriage because you don't seem to believe in your own. It's pretty much just like nuh-uh. You're just saying nuh-uh.
No, I said he's not okay with it, but he permitted for it in the law at that time in that covenant for the people within the covenant.
Okay, if I go up to a police officer and the police officer says, hey, you see that road over there? On that road, you can break the
Yeah.
speed limit, okay? Does that mean that he endorses speeding? No. Does it mean that he was okay with me speeding on that road? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the principle that I'm saying right here.
So God was okay with slavery.
No, he allowed for it. He wasn't okay with it. It's imperfect. God is not. He's not going to settle for anything imperfect.
Except slavery.
That's why there's progressive revelation.
Except slavery. You're not willing to bite the bullet that God was okay with.
No,
slavery.
You didn't even win that point. So I'm not going to concede to something that you didn't even win. You failed.
Have you always had these opinions, or has your view of this evolved over time?
I've always been more conservative. Some things. I recently decided that women shouldn't vote.
I like how she's like the biggest pick-me ever, but she hasn't even been picked. Why do we have these dumb bitches who always get up here and they're like, women shouldn't vote? Okay, then shut the fuck up, Pearl. Go get married, get pregnant, go back to the kids. Finally, somebody I can be sexist to. Yes!
Why shouldn't women vote?
Because we're chemically different every single day.
This is false, by the way. They've done studies where they compared men and women over the course of several days. I think it was actually several months. And even some of the women in this study were on their periods, and they found that the men and the women had equal amounts of emotional fluctuation throughout the time period. So you're lying, Pearl. You are a liar.
If there's a trans person who has had a gender reassignment, are they now a woman?
Oh God, they're an abomination is what they are.
If, for example, I was able to demonstrate to you that the percentage of trans people who undergo this surgery live better, happier, healthier lives, would it no longer be an abomination?
I just don't think it actually changes their sex, which in turn
That's not the
doesn't make them a
question.
real man or
That's not the
woman.
question. We're not talking about sex anyway. We're talking about more so gender here. So let's back up. How is it an abomination?
From the ones I've seen, they don't look very good.
So if it doesn't look good, it's an abomination? I mean, damn, I would hate to look at
Sort
you in
of.
the mirror.
Yep.
Okay, well, honestly, you're an abomination, so bye.
All right, later.
And there we have it.
See, I'm working through God right now.
Well,
Like, I'm
God
trying
is
not
just
to-
doing a really shitty job then. I'm sorry. But
Dude, okay.
Killing is never the answer, and this is why God said you
except
shall
when
not
God
kill.
does it, apparently. And apparently God, when he killed all the first children, also killed your brain. Goodbye.
You're acting like you're the logical one, but there's nothing logical about homosexuality or the transgender stuff.
There's nothing logical about depriving kids from better outcomes on the basis of a mystical spirit.
But
Like,
that's
listen
not
to what
what
you're
I'm doing.
saying. Yes, you are. You sound like you're writing the next script for a My Little Pony episode.
Have I convinced you? Have I
Well,
converted Hunter Avalon?
Actually, you've strengthened me in my atheism because there's no way that a
Oh.
good, eternal, loving God would ever create somebody like you. Anthony, you claimed that you only know things because you get divine revelation from God, and when I asked how you know that, you said, "'Cause the Bible told me so."
Listen, I don't know anything for certain except for the
fact that
you're
you're a
degenerate
degenerate moron. You're just a degenerate. Oh, I'm on. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream. How's it going, everyone? What the heck are these clips? Something to keep you hoes entertained before I come on stream, of course. Hope you're all doing well today. I look a little bit rough. My kids are over. Well, they're not here right now. Rose is at school. Willie's at daycare. But Willie got me up at like 6 a.m. So I kind of woke up like this. That's right, ladies. I look so hot when I first wake up. Look at this. I haven't even showered. Still suave as fuck. I'm kidding myself and everyone listening, but it's okay. What's on the schedule for today? We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we do. So let's see. Good Friday, relaxed look. Thanks. So we're going to talk a little bit about some white savior stuff. This liberals being white savior. Gothics did a video as well. We're going to talk about that and probably go over the part in the Jubilee section about white saviors as well. Maybe talk about a little bit more just Pearly things, just because she constantly is shitting out dumb fuck points and then getting a bunch of views on them, and well, that's content and fun. So there's that. We might look at have some other stuff that, depending on if we have time, might go over it, but we'll see. Shu is getting married? What? Is she marrying that alt-right guy? We all love a white savior type. Oh yeah, I know. Well, we're going to talk all about it, okay? Now, also, today's streaming goal is, let's try to make around 70 to 100 bucks for George Soros today, okay? And if we do, I'm going to start doing like milestones, okay? So when the stream hits $50, I will wear the fedora for the rest of the stream. And if we make a $100 goal, then my rats will join me for the remainder of the stream. Shu is getting married, or wait, who's getting married? So if anybody wants to donate and support the channel, we could even do it the other way around. Maybe we do 50 for the rats.
He also noted that I am an ape and I should go F myself.
Hold on 1 second, sorry. All right, we have our first donor of the day. Hell yeah, FabGab2, thank you for being the first donor of the day for $10 donation. First dono because I'm the best mod. Yeah, all right. Thank you, FabGab. You are currently the best mod. Of course, if any other mod donates more than you, then they become the best mod. But you know, I'm not going to stop people from bidding money to be my favorite, okay? I'm just that capitalist, all right? No, but seriously, as always, all donations are greatly appreciated. So if you want to donate to the channel, please put something into the super chat so that your donation will pop up on screen and it will be read and responded to live right here on air. You can also do !donate and send a donation to my PayPal. That's actually preferred, to be honest. So you can do !donate, send a donation to my PayPal, attach a message, and all those messages will be read and responded to live as well. PayPal is just a little better because they take way less of a cut than YouTube, and PayPal allows me to withdraw that immediately, whereas the super chat donations, again, all donos are appreciated, don't get me wrong. The super chat, YouTube takes like 30% of all your donations in the super chat, and they make me wait until the end of the month to even see any of that money in my account. So if you want to help me out, that's the way to do it. Again, all donations are greatly appreciated. They are certainly not required. I appreciate everybody being here, just tuning in today. And if you don't feel like donating, that's fine. So make sure you click that thumbs up button as well, okay? Yeah, YouTube doesn't handle this. They take 30% of all your guys' donations. 30%. It's cray-cray. Hooray! Is there going to be a debate? Well, let's get my Discord open. Well, not yet, because there's nobody that has raised their hand, because I have the title set to only real debates and disagreements. So, again, I do appreciate people who call in to say that they appreciate the channel, and I love all of you guys, and I love all your support, but this Discord is here for people to either just sit in the waiting room and listen if they want, but please don't raise your hand and request to speak unless you genuinely have a disagreement or something that you think would be a worthwhile debate. So if someone calls in, and it's like, hey, well, I don't really disagree with you on anything. I just wanted to ask you a question. No. I appreciate it. We're going to do a Q&A here later. Not this stream, but I'm going to do one later, but no. Real debates only. If God is real, he'll strike you down when you try and debate him. At least I'll finally have proof. Of course, I'll be dead, so that'll kind of suck, but... well, oh well. All right, guys, let's jump into the first topic of the day. And as always, if we get debate requests, I might pause the segment to take debates, since I know callers are definitely not as flexible. And if you guys send a donation, I will pause what I'm doing and read those donations as soon as possible as well. So again, don't hesitate to send a donation and help support the channel, even if I'm in the middle of a segment. So we have not talked about the cancerous tumor growing on the platform known as YouTube. Gothix. We haven't talked about her in quite a while. In fact, I'd forgotten about her for a little bit. I seem to have kind of forgotten about a lot of these lamos, and it's been nice. And then I inevitably am like scrolling through looking at my content for whatever reason. Like I might be looking through an old video for something, and then, oh, wait, remember Gothix? Oh, fuck, I wonder what she's up to. Wah, wah, wah. Next thing I know, we got to stumble upon her channel again. But I found a video that she made. She published it 1 month ago. She's not publishing that often right now. And it's called Dear White Saviors. And I thought that this would be a good topic to go over. The sort of white liberal, the liberal white savior complex thing. Because there was also recently a Jubilee panel that Destiny, the man, the myth, the legend himself, went on. And they had a whole segment about the white liberal savior complex thing as well. So I figured we'd go over the Gothix video, and then we will touch on this panel. And we'll just see what she has to say. Again, as always, I have not watched this video ahead of time, so I do not know what we're in for. Maybe I'll even end up agreeing. Obviously, there is such a thing as these cringy liberals that think all black people are just these poor, oppressed souls, and they're almost racism by always assuming every black person is definitely 100% at a disadvantage kind of thing. So I get that. But then on the flip side, like, I like to consider myself a white savior. I feel like, and this is pretty humble of me to say, this is definitely downplaying it, but I feel like when most black people see me, they view me as kind of the Jesus Christ of the black community almost. I sort of shine my angelic whiteness, my privilege shines like an angelic light, like the Star of David, like a star up in the fucking sky to lead people to the newborn king. That's kind of how I like to think of myself, So again, I know I'm downplaying it. I mean, I'm definitely more powerful than that, but it's like at least a fair start.
Dear white saviors, I think the most repulsive trend that I've experienced as a woman who happens to be black is the endless coddling and victimization.
Hey guys, did you know that Gothix is black? In case anybody watching is either colorblind or maybe just blind, Gothix is black. Just so you know. And guys, just so you know, in case you didn't know, I'm actually white also. I know, seems like I'd be allowed to say the N-word whenever I want, but no, I'm white, believe it or not.
Experience as a woman who happens to be black is the endless coddling and victimization from people like you. And by the way, I don't mean all white people. I'm speaking directly to the folks who think treating blacks like babies or making excuses for them is somehow gonna change the world for the better. White say.
Okay, so we're gonna let her talk, don't worry, but they are, wait, hold on, let me go back, because she already said this.
Babies are making
making excuses for black people. See, this is the problem, is people like me get labeled a white savior for talking about issues like systemic racism, maybe. I'll say things all the time, like, not every black person is poor, of course. Black people can be successful in this country, duh. But it is a statistical reality that because of historical policies, black people do disproportionately have less financial security as compared to the average white person. That is true, on average. This doesn't mean all white people and all black people. This is the average. But these averages are relevant because they show the effects of historical racist policies like redlining, which I talk about quite frequently. So this is the problem, is there is such a thing as the white savior. The black people can do no wrong because they're oppressed and they're always a victim of the system, blah, blah, blah. No, I think everybody should try and work the hardest they can to make the best of their life within their own abilities, of course. But when white liberals try to talk about some of the disproportionate disadvantages that black people face, we get labeled white saviors for making excuses. No one's making excuses. This is called an explanation.
Excuses for them is somehow going to change the world for the better. White saviorism is a phenomenon that convinced agreeable people that they're somehow responsible for fighting injustice and dismantling barriers of systemic oppression because of the superior.
White saviors are selfish, racist people who think black people need to be saved. They're not just people who point out racism exists and want it to be fixed. Maybe. Like they're labeled it one way or another.
Somehow going to change the world for the better. White saviorism is a phenomenon that convinced agreeable people that they're somehow responsible for fighting injustice and dismantling barriers of systemic oppression because of—
What did I just tell you? There it is, right? Literally, I fucking called it. And this is why I always make a big deal about not watching these videos ahead of time, because I want you guys to really, really just absorb, swallow just how predictable these dumb fucks are every time. White saviorism is not the belief that there are systemic barriers in place for black people. There are. Remember when I talked to Gothix and I brought up that study about how if you have a black sounding name, you're less likely to get a callback on your job resume? How is that your fault? How is that making excuses? That's literally just facing a disadvantage because your name sounds like a black sounding name. And remember what Gothix's response was. Well, how bad do you want the job? Probably not bad enough to go down to the fucking courthouse and change my name to John Smith.
Of the superiority or white privilege they inherited at birth. This idea has been driven by misguided notions of social justice, which create false representations of black people being weak, incapable, and in need of protection from the white supremacy boogeyman.
It's not in need of protection from any white supremacy boogeyman or anything of the sort. It's that there are, again, systems at play that are sometimes even still being propped up in a way that is unintentional. This is why I bring up the criminal justice system, for example, because the criminal justice system, I don't think is like intentionally racist. Obviously, I don't think everybody in the criminal justice system is racist, but we still see that black people are disproportionately given death sentences or longer, harsher sentences compared to white people who are in very similar situations with similar criminal backgrounds. So there's another disadvantage that black people are facing. This isn't because of the white supremacy boogeyman or anything of the sort. This is because of certain subconscious biases. And by simply talking about the issue and acknowledging that, we can start to undo some of these systemic issues. It's not that hard. This doesn't mean all black or all white people are racist or all white people are bad, because you know what? black people are involved in the criminal justice system too. It's a system problem. The way the system operates disproportionately negatively affects people of color, whether you have all white people running that system or all black people running that system. There is all kinds of issues here, subconscious biases that exist, possibly because, yes, lack of exposure and whatnot, but these are issues we can talk about without being like, the white supremacy, the spooky white people are all bad. Did you know all white people are privileged racist? Ooh. And then last but not least, the best explanation I can give for white privilege is simply that it does not mean you will never face problems in your life. It does not mean you will never have hardship. It does not mean that you are necessarily better off than every black person out there. No, none of that. It just means that your likelihood of experiencing difficulties because of your skin color isn't there. It's very unlikely for that to occur. Whereas because of these systemic issues and inequalities, because of long historical generational discrimination of black people, then oftentimes black people can face difficulties because of their skin color. And again, none of this means that we're making excuses. Gothics is taking the approach that black people are too stupid to even figure this out. Why have black people been disproportionately living in poverty now for generations on top of generations? She's going to say culture, or she's going to say no dads. Okay, why are there no fathers there? Were there any welfare policies that encouraged the kicking out of a man in the house? Yeah? Was that systemic racism, Gothics?
To be clear, I am not diminishing the hardships that some people might face. In actuality, I acknowledge that the world is hard. I acknowledge that it can be unfair, unjust, unkind, and unpredictable.
Of course, it's very unfair. I mean, me and you exist in the same reality. Clearly, there is no God.
What I am not convinced by is this idea that my skin color somehow predestines me to a life of misery and poverty unless I enlist the help of the anointed.
Trust me, your skin color does not destine you for a life of misery and poverty, but your fucking smug attitude absolutely does, Gothics, okay?
Pseudo-intellectual. Racism isn't a problem for me. In fact, color is completely irrelevant in my eyes because it's not like I'm being subjected to anything new. If the world doesn't hate you for what you look like, they're gonna hate you for what you believe, what you stand for, what you do, and what you...
What? So maybe some people like me who have more than one brain cell care why people hate you, okay? Listen, I say all the time, if people hate me for something that I genuinely said or genuinely believe, fine, hate me. Go for it, okay? I don't care. You're not scary to me. But if somebody hates me based on a lie or based on some false notion or some rumor about me, or if somebody hates me because I'm white, well, there's a difference there. That's just like ridiculous. That's pathetic. But if you hate somebody for something they believe, or if you hate their beliefs, well, that's sometimes a valid thing to hate about somebody. She's literally just like, well, because you'll experience hate for some reasons, then it's okay that some people hate you for your skin color. like, I'm okay with people hating me for being liberal. I would prefer people aren't just like hating me because I'm a man or because I'm white or because of some kind of intrinsic characteristic.
Say, prejudice comes in many forms, so let's stop pretending that one is worse than the other. You can't change someone's heart with activism or getting on a soapbox and congratulating yourself.
This is the lazy crap. You can't change somebody's heart, herder. Fine, then change their mind. You can change their mind. With reason, with coherent explanations, so long as they are willing to listen, I think.
For taking a with activism or getting on a soapbox and congratulating yourself for taking a diversity workshop or calling someone a racist. The real fight against racism lies in empowering individuals to take accountability, pursue wisdom, learn valuable skills, start business.
She does this every time.
Businesses and become indispensable assets.
She does this every time. She goes, there's no systemic problems. Instead, we should focus on all of these things that right now are lacking due to systemic problems. She does this every single time. I know, Gothics, it's great for you to just deny reality and then just daydream about this fantasy, whimsical land in which all of a sudden everybody can just pull themselves up by the bootstraps again and nobody is ever victimized by the systems at play. Nope, everybody's just an individual living in their own world of existence, you know? This is fucking bullshit. Go out and start their own businesses. You need money to do that. So what if you don't have money? What if you're in an area that's disproportionately poor? What if you're in an area where you don't know anybody who can even give you money, like an investor, to help you? What if you have no financial stability? You talk about starting businesses. That's not a bad thing to do, of course. But if black people are disproportionately poor, then black people are going to disproportionately have a harder time starting businesses. So you can't just deny these systemic issues that are contributing to these disproportionate realities and then just daydream about how nice it would be if maybe everything was just perfect. It's ridiculous.
To society.
Let me go back again and we'll go down.
And empowering individuals to take accountability, pursue wisdom, learn valuable skills.
Pursue wisdom? I'm not sure what wisdom means. That's not quite academia, right? That would be like values instilled in you, maybe from your parents. But what if you only have one parent who's working all the time and you don't have a good active parent? Well, not that they wouldn't be a good parent because they'd be working to support you, but you don't have a parent that's able to be there instilling wisdom for you. What about then? We know that the black community has a problem with disproportionate lack of fathers. Now, those stats are exaggerated in many ways because fathers are still in the homes. They might just not be married. So there are some discrepancies there with the numbers, but generally there is still a fatherlessness problem within the black community. That's true. But why is that? Is it because black people are disproportionately arrested? Yeah. Is it because when you're in poverty, it's much harder to commit to a family, which leads to bad behavior, which leads to fucking around, getting people pregnant and leaving? There are so many systemic factors at play. And again, I'm not saying because that systemic factor is at play, that means the guy that knocked that girl up and then dipped is okay and justified. That's not my argument here. Because that's not okay. That's wrong. But what if no one was there to instill that wisdom in him? I'm not saying, again, that it's an excuse, but we have to look at the reality and the kind of systems that inform and influence decisions people make and the behavior that they engage in if we want to truly empower the individual, Gothics.
Start businesses and become indispensable assets to society. As Booker T. Washington once stated, anyone who can do something that the world wants will succeed regardless of their race. And to be honest with you, I'm more inclined to take advice from a former slave who made something of himself than people who think every minor inconvenience is an act of racism. But of course,
I mean, I hyperbolize the other side a lot too, so I'm not gonna really be super harsh about that, but I do feel like it's a little bit irritating. I mean, can she at least give a reasonable summary first? Does she really think that I don't know, modern people think that every inconvenience is racism?
Of course, none of that matters when we're talking about the politics of grievance and victimhood because, let's be real, you can't exploit someone with context. And I get it, there's gonna be a ton.
Didn't you just say you want them to become assets to society? I mean, there's a lot of conversations about the way in which work can be, I don't know, that's maybe, I just feel like she's not making any sense. How are people being exploited? Now, if she wanted to say specifically that the Black Lives Matter organization exploited people under this guise of fighting for equality and activism, and then they mishandled those funds, didn't the person buy like a mansion or something? Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, if that was like misinformation, but that's my understanding at least. You could say the Black Lives Matter organization exploited people. That would be fair. I wouldn't even disagree with that. The Black Lives organization has been sketchy and weird from the fucking beginning. So there you go. I'm the white savior liberal. I can even agree with that. But you cannot deduce from an organization that any kind of general attitude in favor of activism is therefore also some kind of nefarious act to exploit people.
Ton of people.
I don't believe in generational trauma. Okay, well then you should believe in generational negatives and whatnot.
watching this who will call me a sellout, an Uncle Tom, tell me I hate myself, and suggest that I ain't black for rejecting their ideological past.
I'm not going to say any of that. I don't think that I don't even know if she hates herself, and I would certainly not say based on this video that she hates herself. I just think that she's just so confused. But I've already tried having a conversation with her. She would not be able to listen.
Pacifier. But if anything, it just goes to show how absurd it is to believe these people are the bastions of social justice while demonstrating a complete lack of self-awareness and sheer stupidity. White people, I implore you to challenge the notion that you must atone for the sins of your ancestors. True.
Really? Hey, all you whites out there, you hear that? Guys, we're off the hook. Finally. Yes. Do you know how exhausting it's been that every single time I'm walking anywhere, even when I'm on like the way to the emergency room with my like hurt, someone needs to go to the emergency room, whatever. Then I stop. If I see a black person, I get down on my knees and I kiss their feet. I wash their feet. I say, I bow to you, and I give them all the money that I have in my wallet.
Progress comes from living in the present and treating each other as equals through genuine understanding for the individual and sheer stupidity. White people, I implore you to challenge the notion that you—
Shouldn't we disagree with discrimination? Wait, what? Of course we disagree with discrimination.
Bastions of social justice while demonstrating a complete lack of self-awareness and sheer stupidity. White people, I implore you to challenge the notion that you must atone for the sins of your ancestors. True progress comes from living in the present and treating each other as equals through genuine understanding for the individual and not a collective that demands your blood sacrifice for something that you're not even responsible for. Jesus already—
Oh God, before we hear her ramble on about Jesus, whatever the fuck she's about to go on. No one's saying you need to give a blood sacrifice to anything, but it's okay to talk about groups as far as averages, so long as you distinguish that that's not speaking for every single person. But you're so stupid, Gothics. This is why I say that you're like a subhuman. Like, you're so fucking retarded. If you just could take a step back for 5 seconds and actually assess what you're saying, then I think I can make this make sense to her. Let me go back and
understanding for the individual.
Right, have an understanding for the individual. She's not wrong. But what she's failing to understand is that every individual, not just black people, every individual is a product of the systems that they are born into. Obviously. Why is it that if people are poor, they're more likely to steal and commit crime? But then when those same people aren't poor, they're less likely to do that. Like, of course, system, environments. This plays a role in motivating and determining the type of, not determining, but playing a large role in at least inspiring the type of behavior you are more likely to engage in. White people don't owe black people anything. And we can understand the individual. I don't even think that we should be against that. Of course we should try to understand the individual, but an individual is still a product of the system. You can understand an individual, but it's going to be more valuable to have that systemic context along with trying to understand the individual, because that is going to help you better understand that individual, Gothics. You're so 2D, you don't even know how to think through this all the way. You don't even realize that what you're arguing for, you're simultaneously arguing against.
Not a collective that demands your blood sacrifice for something that you're not even responsible for. Jesus already paid for that on the cross, so forgive me if I scoff at the idea that fallible humans are somehow gonna save the world when—
Wait, why did Jesus have to pay for that on the cross? Gothics, are you saying that God was going to punish all of us people for the sins of Adam and Eve? Oh no. Wait, Gothics, are you saying that I'm going to be punished? Why was I sinful? I was never given a choice whether I could pick the apple off of the one special tree or not, okay? Why did I never get that choice? Someone else sinned, and then I was born to be punished? Because now I'm apparently just born sinful also? Why am I being punished for the sins of my forefathers? Gothics? You're over here raging about how white people are not responsible for the past, but apparently God thinks that I'm responsible for the sins of the past. Make it make sense, please. Doesn't it even say the sins of the son will become the father? Hold on, let me see. Hey, Taylor Kymik, thank you for the $5 donation, my friend. Hi, Hunter, first time donating, love your content. Well, thank you so much. That really means a lot, my friend. And yeah, thanks for the support. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generations. Immoral or grossly unfair behavior. So in Ezekiel, they say the son shall not bear the iniquity of the father. Visiting the iniquity of those fathers. So maybe they're talking more about the negatives that will be passed through. Let's see. There are generational consequences of our sin that affect those close to us. Although we are not responsible for the sins of our fathers or children, we must ensure we are not influenced by them. So that's like the biblical thing. It's not even so much about this. It's about you shall not worship them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children, on the third and fourth generations of those who hate me. Job 21:19, you say, God stores away a man's iniquity for his sons. Let God repay him so that he may know it. Isaiah 14:21, prepare for his sons a place of slaughter because of the iniquity of their fathers. In those days they will not say again. So did this change maybe? Our fathers sinned and are no more. It is we who have borne their iniquities. So even if God does not necessarily, to me, this sounds contradictory, because this sounds like God is saying he is going to. Numbers 14 right here. The Lord is slow to anger and abundant in loving kindness, forgiving iniquity and transgression, but he will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and the fourth generations. Okay, cool. So that's really all we needed to know. So God was totally okay with punishing future generations for the sins of their fathers when it came to Adam and Eve and all of humanity, and when it comes to certain verses here in the Old Testament. To me, it sounds like God's contradicting himself, because sometimes he's saying he's not going to do that, and then other times he's saying he is. Regardless, she's over here raging about all this crap, about all this white people, the past, blah, blah, blah. She believes in a God that literally believes the exact same thing. She believes in a God who is so fucking woke, so wokey, that he's going to punish the third and fourth generation of sons for something their fathers did. That's how woke your God is, Gothics.
when they still need a savior themselves. And no thank you, I can do all things through Christ, not our Father which art in Washington. I, like every other so-called disenfranchised person, has potential to succeed, assuming you actually let us thrive based on our abilities and our merit. It might be hard, there might be obstacles, and I am not saying it's wrong to ask for help if you actually need it. But with freedom comes a responsibility for our own lives and
What if you're not afforded the same type of freedom because someone else has, say, way more economic freedom than you do because of past problems that your father's fathers experienced, and now you don't have economic mobility? What's going to happen to your freedom? What happens if you're poor, if you have no money at all? Where's your freedom, Gothics? This is ridiculous, okay? You can't just be like, "'Cause we have freedom." No, you need to talk about why there are these certain issues at play and what is contributing to them. We are not going to see generations upon generations of disproportionate income inequality amongst racial groups since like redlining and before, because black people just aren't taking responsibility, or because the white people are just all saying that black people are victims. That's not why this is happening, Gothics. And until you acknowledge the systemic issues at play, then your only other belief is that black people might be capable, but I guess they're just really fucking stupid because they're really capable apparently, but for the last several generations, they're just not doing anything. Oh well, I guess just black people are disproportionately just lazy? Really? Is that the route you want to take? That's the only other option if there isn't some kind of a generational or systemic problem. She's so dumb.
Overcoming the challenges we face along the way.
Wow. For a 3-minute video. Oh. That was hell on earth. Guess it's time I, the true victimized minority, a gamer, deserve the jackpot. Yeah, seriously. All right, I can, we'll go over to the Jubilee panel here in a second, but there was this guy, Mace, who wanted to talk earlier. If he's still in here, he was raising his hand. I don't know if he still wants to talk. I guess I'll bring this guy back on again. Oh, well, here's Mace. Hello.
Hello. I wanted to ask, do you think that racial discrimination should be illegal?
Racial discrimination should be illegal? Isn't it already illegal? I mean, within a company and whatnot, like you can't discriminate on the basis of race.
Yeah, and do you think that's the way it should be?
Yeah, so long as, again, it's within like the proper context. You can't outlaw like racial slurs because that would technically be under free speech. But you definitely could say you're not allowed to use these slurs in my building. I don't think you could say it's illegal though, but you could still be fired. But yeah, no, it would be illegal for anyone running a company to discriminate on the basis of race. And in that case, yeah, of course, I'm in favor of that, because we were just watching this video about how black people need to have freedom to pursue what they want to. And if you're being discriminated just because you're black, then you don't have that freedom.
So what's your solution to it seems like you have an issue with black people finding it harder to get recruited at businesses that are apparently discriminating against them because of their name.
Dude, reject that claim, because I can show you that study if you'd like. There have been 2 different ones now. One in 2003 that was old, and one just done again in 2017.
I would reject that that's normal. However, I fully accept there are some racist business owners that will be doing that, but that's like a case-by-case thing.
Sure, of course, but that's not the only thing, right? This is why I also was talking about redlining and other generational problems that have contributed to disproportionate poverty rates, right? So if you just don't have the same kind of access to opportunity or economic mobility, then it's going to inevitably be more difficult for you. And the problem is not just that it's more difficult, so I don't want it to be really too hard. It's that it's more difficult because of racism, because of racism in the past, because of current racism, because of racism itself. That's why it's a problem, more so than just because it's difficult.
So what's your solution to it?
Well, we need to first work on investing in those areas to try and bring more economic opportunity into those neighborhoods, first and foremost. People ask me this. I know there is a way in which that could also be bad because we've all heard of gentrification. So if you come in and hike up a bunch of prices and whatnot, there would have to be a way to go about that. I'm not a policymaker. I don't have like a fucking formally written out thing, but I know there is a way that we could look into investing in those areas. We could beef up the funding for education. That would be a really big one. We could even, I would want to look at the current welfare policies and see if those are still, because I know in the beginning of welfare, there was some kind of weird incentive that did actually incentivize people to like not have a dad in the house for a little bit. And if that's still the case, then of course we would want to change that so people could still apply for welfare and not need to have some weird thing with whether or not there's a father in the house. So yeah, I mean, there's a couple things kind of off the top of my head.
And when you say those areas, do you mean poor areas or specifically areas with high rates of black people?
Well, like the poorer urban areas that, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, those areas are oftentimes disproportionately black as well. And again, that's not me shitting on black people or saying that all black people are poor. This is just recognizing that you can read the history of how, like, the projects. We've all heard about the projects, right? And so, like, right now, black people disproportionately live in those poor urban projects. Why is that? You can look back at the history. They used to build those houses for only white people, and then black people were kept out from buying homes in these newer neighborhoods because the government at the time was incentivizing builders to build homes on the basis that they exclude black people. So that kept black people out from investing in better, nicer suburban areas. So many black people were forced to move into the projects when all the white people left. Then the projects became subsidized, which then led to them just falling apart and becoming shitty. So because you already had discrimination, lack of economic mobility, and now we see black people being forced in the projects, and they're still disproportionately there today. Clearly, there's some kind of a systemic problem, right?
I'm struggling to ascertain whether or not you want to help poor people in general or specifically poor black people.
I mean, of course, I want to help poor people in general, but I think the way we're going to fix these issues is going to be different. Because if black people are poor because of historical racist policies, the way we assess that might be different. But then again, there's going to be some overlap as well where it won't have to be different.
See, you said the solution was to invest in certain areas. Do you think, like, for a period of time, all government investment should just go to areas that are mostly black?
No, that's gonna be ridiculous.
Okay.
No, I think that those investments would obviously need to be made in a very strategic way. I think they can go around in different ways to help poor areas in general. Sure. I never liked the notion where it's like, this is just for black people kind of thing. I think that we can, just like systemic racism can sometimes be a policy without an intentional way to fuck over black people, but it still can do that. I think we can pass other policies that can benefit people without hyper focusing on like how this is just going to help black people. It can help everybody, including black people.
So if you just want to help everyone in general, why are you making this sound like it's about race? Because
it partially is. Because the reason that black people are disproportionately living in poverty to this day is because of race.
But the solution doesn't involve race at all.
The solution involves investing in poorer areas, which includes areas that are disproportionately black. But why those areas are poor are also going to vary.
You are advocating to invest in poor areas regardless of the racial makeup of that area.
Yes, I want to help poor areas, but by doing that, because as unfortunate as it is that black people disproportionately are living in those poor areas, that would inadvertently also help black people. But the reason I'm talking about race is because one, we were just going over a video in which it was about white saviors. And two, like I said, the reason for this poverty is going to be different. The reason that a white person is poor in a trailer park is going to be different than why a black person or generations of black people have been poor in urban areas.
No, not on an individual basis, maybe on average.
You don't go
but...
based on individual bases when you're trying to pass policies or solutions.
I don't know about that.
So you might be right that being poor is being poor, sure, but yeah, when we're talking about solutions, you can't be like, well, it's not that different for the individual. Okay, fine, but you ask me why I'm talking about race.
Yeah, it just seems to me you could advocate for the exact same things without talking about race.
Really? Do you not understand the point I'm making that the reason that black people might be disproportionately in poverty is because of a racist issue? The reason some white people might be in poverty is going to be for other different kinds of reasons that might not have anything to do with them being white?
It may be the case that they have different causes. I don't know. I don't live in America. I don't know a whole lot about it.
On average, since we're talking about averages, already, then yeah, on average they would be there for different causes, right?
But despite them being there for different causes, do you think the solution is the same?
Well, I mean, generally investing in areas, it's also going to depend. So when I'm thinking of a poor urban area, I'm thinking more of a city area. Investing in those kinds of areas could bring in business opportunities and whatnot. Now, when you're talking about rural areas that are also really poor and are made up of more white people, maybe the way that you would go about investing in those areas would be different. I mean, I know right now Republican states receive way more government subsidies than Democrat states, just because Republican states tend to be more rural. So those states are already getting a degree of investment there from government money. But again, the solution can be generally the same, but of course, how you're going to carry that out might be different. And then also, when I am talking about systemic racism specifically, and that's the subject at hand, then of course I'm going to talk about how historical racist policies contribute to the disproportionate poverty rate of black people. Because white people are poor in this country too, but black people are disproportionately poor compared to white people. That's also true.
Okay. I'm not entirely sure. It's weird. It's like I disagree with your wording, but I agree with the physical things you're actually advocating for. So it's a strange position.
I feel like we can just agree then. I mean, I don't know. Are you just in denial about systemic racism?
I just, I just don't like bringing up race where it's not necessary.
But it is necessary. So again, not all of the solutions are identical, right? So investing in the areas might be similar, but what about these jobs where they're discriminating towards black sounding names? What are we going to do then? That's something that's unique to black people because it's a ethnic sounding name. And mind you, it might not even be some racist business manager that's just like, oh, I bet this person's black, forget it. It's that a lot of the times it's just subconscious bias. This name Daquan, that doesn't sound nearly as familiar as a Jake. So they might just be more likely to lean towards Jake. It's not always this like aggressive racist thing. And that's why I try to talk about subconscious bias and bringing awareness to it without being like all white people are racist, evil, bad, privileged, you know?
I'm actually okay with the subconscious bias thing, because I think if a business owner is going to turn people down just because of their name, he's actually hurting his own business, and the market will correct itself because of that.
But it doesn't. That's just not true. Because there's not enough people with black sounding names applying for it to actually negatively impact the business the same degree that it would affect those people. And you just talked about earlier when we said poverty and stuff, how it's not going to matter to the individual, the reason. Well, I can tell you right now, the individual that didn't get a job because of their name, even though they were qualified, they don't care that, well, maybe the market will come along and fix it. The market's not fixing it, dude. This has been a problem going on now for over 20 years.
Surely, though, if they've got a really good applicant and then they turn them down for their name, that applicant's now going to apply to a competitor that might take them on. So they've given their competitor an advantage.
But you're assuming that this person, again, has this endless opportunity. What if you're poor and don't have a car? You can only apply it for jobs that you can walk to or get a ride to. That's going to cut down your options big time. So then what if there is no competitor? Or what if there is a competitor, but it's just a little bit out of reach for you? That's what you're missing. And if that's disproportionately and if that's disproportionately the case for Black people, then there is a racist problem here.
Do you think that people are entitled to a job?
Entitled to a job? No, but I think that people are entitled to be given a fair chance at a job and not be rejected on the basis of something meaningless like their name. Okay. So we ought to we should fund better public transport, for example. That's another solution. That would really be beneficial.
Okay, it sounds like we mostly agree then.
Okay, I guess it doesn't seem like we do.
Oh, where do you think we disagree?
Well, you were saying the thing about the ethnic names. You were like, well, surely they would. Let me just see if I can find it real quickly. If I can just find that study for you, hold on. All right, hold on. Yeah, I have a big. I mean, so you don't really deny systemic racism then? Because I found my notes with all my shit on it. So I mean, I can. There's just a hell of a lot of info here about how Black people are disproportionately victimized by the police, by criminal justice system, when it comes to the type of drug charges they face. There are so many problems when it comes to the type of issues that Black people face, and a lot of it comes down to racism. I'm not the one making it a race issue, man. I'm just calling it how it is.
Well, when you say systemic racism, do you mean racism that's perpetuated by government or an organization?
It's by a system of any kind. It could even be a social system, but yeah, it's usually going to be a government in some kind of a structured system. Yes. So
or a business.
A business would be a type of system. Yeah. So for example,
I'd agree that exists. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So like a policy then too would kind of fall in that category. So that's why, because conservatives will sometimes say like, well, what about welfare? That disproportionately negatively impacted Black people as far as fathers in the house. Yeah, that's systemic racism too. Yeah, absolutely. It's not just systemic racism when Republicans do it. Like if it's a policy, even done, welfare was done to try and help the Black community. Even if it's a policy done with the intention to help, but is disproportionately negatively impacting Black people, then yes, you have a systemic racist problem then, and you need to try and undo that.
So, okay. It sounds like then you think racism doesn't require intent.
Not systemic racism. Interpersonal racism, I think for the most part would. Or you could, you can unintentionally be racist. That's a thing. I would say that it doesn't require intent or malice even.
So what definition do you use then?
Racism is discrimination towards somebody on the basis of their race. Systemic racism is a system in place that disproportionately negatively impacts Black people.
Yeah, so race-based discrimination, surely that requires intent.
No.
Because
if you're talking about interpersonal racism, yes. If someone's intentionally going, I don't want Black people in my neighborhood, so I'm going to keep them out. Yeah, of course that's intentional. But there's a way that you can unintentionally be racist too. I mean, have you ever seen The Office? Remember how did you ever see The Office? Remember Michael Scott would like say things that were always unintentionally racist because he was trying so hard to not come across like the racist?
I haven't seen the American one. Could you give me an example?
All right, yeah, you got to check it out. There was a good example where he was always very, very stereotypical to the one Black worker. He would always go up to him and be like, hey man, do you know anything about gang signs? And like ask him really just off-putting questions. And there were times where like the Black guy would show, he made like a graph and it was this really like well-documented thing. And the other manager was so impressed, but Michael Scott, unintentionally being racist, was like, oh, that looks so good, buddy. We'll hang that on the fridge. So it's like, That's what I mean, right? So it's like I don't think that that's a perfect example in a show right there where
I
that's just
would
someone being
argue
ignorant, but they're also being racist.
That is still intentional there then, because he's actively in his mind thought, this person's black, so I need to treat them differently.
But he might have not been thinking like they're inferior to me. He might have not been thinking like an intentional like thing like that because it was not done with a racist intent. He didn't even realize it was an ignorant thing. He didn't realize the way that he was actually demeaning that person.
Could we agree that it was deliberate, benevolent racism?
Can you elaborate what that means?
So he's being racist, but he thinks he's being kind. So it's he thinks he needs to.
Maybe, but then
treat
wouldn't that be unintentional racism then? That's intentional kindness,
he needs to
unintentional
treat
racism.
black people with more respect. That's intentional racism, but it's coming from a good place.
I don't think that's intentional racism. I think that's thinking I need to treat this person with more respect, and that's unintentionally racist. I think that's being intentionally trying intentionally to be kind, but then unintentionally being racist.
On the basis of race, though, which makes it racism.
I don't know if that makes it racism. What do you like? Do you like? No, having well, okay, that might make it racism. Sure, intentional racism. I mean, it doesn't have to be intentional. You can make a comment without realizing it's racist.
Yeah, I don't think when I say intentional, I don't mean you have to know you're being racist. I think it's you have to be actively discriminating in favor or against someone on the basis of their race. That part
without realizing it even. So what if somebody has never heard the N-word before until yesterday, and they're brand new to this world speaking English, and they then say the N-word without having any understanding that it's racist, but they say it to a black person. Can that be unintentionally racist?
No, I wouldn't say that's racist.
I don't. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. We're getting off track regardless. Whether you think it's intentional or not is almost beside the point, because somebody, as far as the black sounding name thing, maybe it's intentional racism, but they don't know they're being intentionally. No, they can't be racist without. You can't have unintentional racism or intentional racism without knowing you're being racist.
Do you think if you were to sit one of these people down and just have an honest discussion, like let's say you give them a truth potion, they cannot lie. If you asked them, do you think they would tell you that they are aware that they have an issue with black sounding names?
I don't know, but this is why subconscious bias is a whole conversation, how people can have a type of bias that is influenced simply by our media, simply by the fact that you might not see as many people that look different from you if you're in a certain area. This is why, for example, when people are in more diverse areas, they grow to be more accepting, and then the opposite is true when they're more isolated. Because you can be discriminatory. Maybe we should just say discriminatory if that would make it easier. If you're thinking that racism, as far as interpersonal racism, must be intentional, maybe we can go with discrimination then. But in that case, that could contribute to discrimination purely on the basis of ignorance, not because of this black person is worse than me. It could just be this is someone different than me, and that makes me afraid of them, right? So regardless, whether it's intentional or not, the conversation about systemic racism, do we agree that a system at play, that obviously does not need to be intentionally designed to screw over black people for it to still have negative results that disproportionately impact black people? Do you agree with that?
That I'm not so sure on, because I mean you could achieve the same thing, but
I'll give you a
say
perfect
it's designed to do something slightly different, like, oh no, it's not designed to screw over black people, it's designed to promote white people, sort of thing.
Well, let me show you. Hold on. Where was this one thing I had? There was one part about. Hold on. I'm finding it. Sorry, I haven't looked at this in a little bit. There's an interesting one about this one policy that was passed that was like totally unintentional. but then it still ended up to, fuck, man, where is it? I gotta get better at this. Oh, here we go. Okay, so a 2017 Chicago Tribune investigation found that as the city ramped up its... Okay, here we go. So let me give you an example, okay? Here was the city's intent to ramp up ticketing bicyclists. People that leave their bikes out, don't lock up their bike, whatever. Ticket those people more to get that shit better, okay? That's their intent. However, black neighborhoods received more than twice as many citations because they were riding bicycles more often. So is that done intentionally to screw over black people? They might not even know black people necessarily ride bicycles more often. But by trying to pass a policy like that, it's disproportionately fucking over the black community.
And
So-
you think that's racist?
That is systemic racism. I don't think the people who passed that policy are racist. I think that that system, that policy is racist.
So in that case, it was racist for them to just enforce the law equally.
No, it was a policy that had racist outcomes, even unintentionally. So there has to be a way to better adjust for that.
So, and I'm not saying this is the case, but
You're just denying this, dude. This
hypothetically-
is a perfect example where this is not this was not designed to screw over black people or anything of the sort, but it had unintentional consequences that did.
I wouldn't call that racist. I would just say that's a coincidence by the looks of it. But here's a hypothetical that takes it to more of an extreme place. Let's say they bring out a new law that says, well, actually, no, that law already exists. Okay, let's say
We're gonna say
murder's
crime or
not
something.
Okay, yeah, let's say there's no laws and then a law gets invented. Murder is now illegal. And then it turns out one demographic is being arrested more than all the others because of that law. That doesn't mean that that demographic's being discriminated against.
You're right, but it could mean that there was previous discrimination because why is that group disproportionately committing crime? And that's the conversation that you people never want to have. I'm sorry. But every time you guys bring that up, you say, well, the crime, is it racist to arrest people for committing crimes? No, but it could be a result of systemic racism that this demographic is disproportionately committing crime. Did you know the majority of crime in a lot of these black areas is gang related? Why are there so many gangs in black areas? Does it have anything to do with being adversarial towards police? It's a sociological fact that if you are in an area that's already hostile towards the police, you're more likely to gravitate towards other authoritative type organizations, especially say you're a kid who doesn't have a dad around. You're going to look up to something that seems powerful and authoritative. If you can't trust the police or the system currently at play, you are most likely or more likely to turn to something else. So is it that surprising there's more gangs in these areas? No, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't arrest gang members. But it does mean that maybe we should look into why are these areas so disproportionately poor still generations later, which is then just leading to more crime.
With the bicycle thing, you were saying that more black people are being arrested for breaking that law. How do you, what do you think the solution to that is? Because personally, I don't see a problem there.
Well, this is a citation, so this is a little different than violent crime. So I don't actually know exactly what the solution would be here first. I mean, again, if it comes down to it, that it's literally just, you're just committing the crime more often or like forgetting to leave your bike out more often, I guess, then like, yeah, sure. Then whatever. It doesn't really mean that every single time there's a disproportionate that it's racist. But when you have policies, I bring this one up because it was very clearly unintentional, but then you also have policies like the drug war, which wasn't unintentional. That was done specifically to criminalize black people specifically. So that's another reason why you see a lot of gangs in these areas too, is because of the war on drugs. Nixon himself, or it was an advisor, said we could not criminalize the blacks, but we could criminalize crack and associate crack with the blacks. And that's what they did. So if you were a rich white person up in Hollywood found with powdered cocaine, you would get a lighter sentence, or maybe no sentence at all. But if you were a black person found with crack cocaine, which was exactly the same type of drug, just a different form, then you would receive way more time in prison. And now there's still to this day way more black people in prison for drugs way less dads around, way more poverty, way more crime, way more drugs. Like, there are so many other problems here, bro.
All right. I'll let you get on with the show. Thank you for taking my questions. I appreciate it.
See you later. I'm interpersonally racist towards the British. I admit it. Just kidding. I love you, guy. I love you, guy. Hey, Kevin San Diego, thank you for the $2. You don't need to be racist to give racist results. True. He doesn't have, he had good questions, and there are some questions that I want to think through more, because it's true that every time there's a disproportion, it's not necessarily a result of racism, but I think that when you have policies, and then there's also already other policies that kind of stack on top of one another, then I think that there's a valuable conversation to have there. Did Hunter react to the Starfield pronouns guy? You know what? I never actually looked at that. Wait, did Ethan debate Hassan? What? Leave us British alone. Wait, are Ethan and Hassan still cool? When did this happen? This must have happened a while ago. Now I want to see that one video. I gotta pull it up. Hold on. Did I ever save that one? Fucking pronouns. Who tweeted about that? God, was it Hassan who tweeted it? I want to find that video now. Yeah, it is. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. Let me find the actual video. Fucking pronouns! That should be our new dono sound. He's calling me an ape is getting a little old now.
I just want to say something to you, Bethesda. Just want to say a little something. There is nothing I love more. Taking my headphones off. Fuck that. Bethesda. There is nothing I love more than to sit down, comfy chair, turn on my PC, fire up a brand new RPG, lose myself, think, oh my God, just think of this world. Just think of all the planets I can visit, all the immersive things that I can get involved.
Yeah, think of all the cool things you can do. Surely you're not going to get super, super triggered and butthurt about one small, minor little option at the start screen, right? You're all excited to get all immersed into this world. There's a lot of world there, pal. It's not all made of pronouns, you know?
With all the fights, all the relationships, all the people.
Also, before anyone else says it, I will say, yes, this is what happens when the thumb people from Spy Kids 1 develop the ability to read and then form a political opinion.
All the immersive things that I can get involved with, all the fights, all the relationships, all the people I meet, all the places I go. I'm so excited to go.
How are you going to know the type of people you're meeting is a he or a she?
And you know, I love nothing more than, with all of that laid out in front of me, I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us.
Current day us? You're playing a video game, bruh. Bruh, you have a video game because it's the current day. You fucking idiot. What is Starfield? Is it like a historical game? Is there supposed to be historical accuracy to it at all? Starfield is an action role-playing game developed by Bethesda, blah, 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 blah. The game takes place in a space-themed setting. Okay. Dude, you're... Why are you current daying us? Because without it being current day, you wouldn't have the game. What?
Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns! Fucking gender ambiguity!
Gender ambiguity? You know, thumbs are pretty gender ambiguous. I'm not gonna lie. Thumbs got that gender ambiguity thing going.
Fucking current day Californian shit! Because that's all we fucking know! Because we're boring! We're so fucking boring!
Oh my god, dude. Did somebody spike your tea and crumpets this morning? Oi, mate. I just can't imagine getting this mad. You know, even when I was conservative, like, I would not get enraged by stuff like this. Stuff that would make me mad was more like the smug lefty stuff that I found to be really wrong, and where they were just kind of like, I don't know, just that the pronoun stuff I would have probably made fun of or cringed at when if it happened when I was still conservative. But I would never be here on a microphone like screaming my fucking little ass heart out on the brink of a diabetic coma because of a goddamn pronoun. I mean, dude, take a breath. Pip pip cheerio.
We can't see past our own fucking reflection.
I know. It's one of the reasons why I'm so racist towards the British.
That's the level of our narcissism here at Bethesda Western Game Company.
Or your narcissism is that you think a fucking sci-fi space game should revolve around your fragile little feelings. I mean, really?
Fuck your immersion. Fuck you having a good time. Fuck you falling into a world and just getting lost. No, no, no.
What? Why can't you do any of this if there's a pronoun selection at the beginning? You know, it's pretty normal at the beginning of games to select, are you going to be a man or a woman as your character? Like, just having a pronoun or a gender ambiguous character is not that different. Dude. Hey, Sam was here. Thank you for the $2 donation. Society is collapsing because of pronouns. True.
Current fucking day. Fuck off. You're boring. You're fucking dull. You have nothing to say. You are a...
The irony is clearly lost on him.
One hived mind twat waffle.
Hey. See, that was a disrespecting of my pronouns right there. It's Mr. Twat Waffle.
That's all you fucking are. And you wonder why people are getting so fucking sick and tired. You take everything... Oh my god, just think of the...
Oops. You wonder why people are getting so sick and tired? I'm definitely... I have a theory why I'm feeling really sick and tired right now. I have a feeling why you might be feeling really sick and tired, but I don't think it has anything to do with pronouns, my friend.
Hived mind twat waffle. That's all you fucking are. And you wonder why people are getting so fucking sick and tired. You take everything we love, all our immersions, all our fantasies, all our escapism, and you just can't help shovel your dog shit, fucking crap ideology into everything.
Just imagine, like, being his kid, and you just, like, POV, you just got back from your first day at preschool and asked your dad his pronouns. You fucking twat waffle! I'll throw a fucking Cheerio at you, mate! I'll show you a tea and crumpet, mate!
Fucking crap ideology into everything! Every single solitary fucking thing!
Imagine being so boring yourself that all imagination is lost. All creativity for a game is lost. All excitement you had for a game is lost. Because you had to click an extra little thing selecting your pronoun at the very beginning. Wow. All right, petition for all of us liberals to use our telepathic hive mind here to just make this guy shut up. Maybe just like make him go mute. You know what? Let's make him go and do one more rant so loud that he burns his lungs out permanently and can only ever speak I think this whiny little bitch needs to go escape to maybe like a mental institution or even a therapist's office. You're still gonna play it? Wait, you're still playing it? All right, I'm done screaming my fucking ass off about pronouns. Time to keep on playing, getting really immersed in this game. Man, dude. His escapism is literally trying to not think about people that exist. I know. And it's bizarre that he thinks it's like shoveling it down your throat. It's like, it's a little button for you to click at the beginning, my friend. That's all. I mean, at least try not to be such a triggered snowflake that you are already melting down over the opening screen of a game. Boots up the game. Pronouns! I will be right back. And then we will go over just pearly things. What's up? What's up? Hey, Toxicancun, thank you for the $10. I'm sick and tired of the thousands and millions, etc. people that listen to someone so sensitive on the daily. He clearly doesn't live his life in order. Oh, he clearly lives his life in order to he clearly doesn't have his life in order despite all that he has. True. Very sad. Does Hunter believe in the gender spectrum thing, or does he think it's binary? I think there is a gender spectrum, but I think that spectrum is determined by a spectrum of masculinity and femininity, which is going to be culturally defined to a degree. So I'm not as in favor of like neo-pronouns as some people might think or want. Of course, I was called a fascist on Twitter when I said that I didn't think you could like identify as a toothbrush or something. I think Hunter subscribes to gender trinity or something. What? No, I don't. Okay, where's the one where Hassan and Ethan debated? Was it the Joe Biden getting impeached one? Oh, yeah, this isn't about enough subject matter that I know about. Do you think it's possible to be a feminine man? Yes, because I think that your internal perception based on an external spectrum is what holds the weight. So I think that you can present feminine and still internally align yourself more with the cultural views of masculinity. Maybe you're more comfortable ultimately being a man and still the social responsibilities and a lot of those kinds of roles you're comfortable with, but you otherwise like to dress in ways that are sort of more feminine. That doesn't make you a woman. Okay. Oh yeah, we didn't do the white savior part yet. What do you guys want to do? Should we type 1 for just pearly things, type 2 for white savior part 2 Jubilee panel thingy? One. The winner is really going to be whoever donates first, let's be honest. Stop current daying us, Hunter. It's triggering. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Please, everyone, immerse yourself in the 1850s. Oh, there goes my property. There goes my slave. Oh, what a lovely day to have some crumpets. Cheerio! There you go. Sorry. Now you're straight out of the current day, okay? All right, we'll start with just pearly things because I'm getting sick of the white thing anyway.
If you want to go in the
And so okay. Just pick me things is mass producing content at this point. She's just on a roll. It's insane, really. It's like what happens when a terminal illness is at like the final stage and it begins rapidly progressing. That's kind of like how her channel feels right now. Alrighty. Hey, Sky Vanilla, thank you for the $5. Donated 1. So I guess we're doing pearly things. Whoop whoop. I just subscribed. I hope to see and join in on more good faith discussions. Hey, yeah, no problem. And thanks for having a good discussion. And yeah, thanks for being good faith. It was a good discussion. I'm glad we could have it. Glad to have you here. And even you don't have to agree with even anything. Really, you're still welcome to be a part of the community and I don't know, debate with people.
If you want to go in the guys' spaces.
All right, hold on. I gotta adjust the volume.
If you want to go into the bars, if you want to go into work, if you want to.
Okay. So this video is a little bit of a different style for her. This video is called "Women Manipulate Your Language." You're welcome if you disagree, although we will beat you up. Why is this one person spamming laughy emojis? I don't get it. All right, sorry. I'm getting distracted by you, chat. Anyway, Just Pearly Things is back. This time you can see here, she's at a... Wow. She's at a whiteboard, as you can see. So not only are we going to be able to really fully embrace her infinite wisdom, because let's be honest, it's unfathomable, the depths of her knowledge. Now, not only do we get to hear that, but we also get demonstrations. Not only is she a genius, but she appears to be the modern day Picasso as well, because this art is some of the most stunning and realistic stuff I've ever actually witnessed. So she's just a talented, skilled person all around. Full circle, man.
Want to go in the guys' spaces, if you want to go into the bars, if you want to go into work, if you want to go into all these men's spaces, I have no problem with that. But
I'm sorry, I know I have to pause it so frequently because there's so much dumb shit that's happening so quickly. Why is a bar and work the men's spaces? Some career fields are definitely dominated by men, but are we really just going to do the whole, like, women go back to the kitchen thing?
what I do have a problem with is you going into the men's spaces and then whining about the way men talk and suing them later. What up, guys? Well,
What do you mean whining about how men talk? Oh no, dude. This is going to be the, come on, boys are just being boys, you know? Every guy here and there, you know, sexually harasses a woman. Every alpha male's done it. What alpha male passes by a woman with a nice rack and a fat ass and doesn't go out of his way to let her know, you know? Maybe even give her a little slap on the ass. Damn these fucking woke women and suing us good men. Ugh. Just trying to be gentlemanly.
welcome to the Just Pearly Things YouTube channel and welcome to my whiteboard series. Before I start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell the way you're
Can you make your audio any better, Pearl? Because it sounds like it's like coming from the back of my speaker. It sounds very weird.
going to be notified of my daily videos. Like the video on your way in.
No.
Let's get
Oh,
started.
yeah, that reminds me I need to dislike it. Thank you, Pearl, for reminding me.
So today, I want to talk about how women police language to the point that we cannot communicate anymore. So, just something I noticed. So,
Please, I'm so
women complain. So this could be a series called Women Complaining Again. Now,
Okay. People in general tend to complain a pretty good deal. Are there any valid reasons to complain, Pearl? Do you think? Is there any way to any way that you know? Is it like, oh, black people are complaining again about wanting freedom back when, like, you know, MLK was a thing? Could you be like whining about people complaining then? Don't you think sometimes it's okay to complain about things? Sometimes things warrant complaining. And also you spelled women wrong. You spelled woman. Woman complain again. That should be the name of your channel. Bro, that should be your channel. Woman complain again. Yes. Yes.
guys, just as a prerequisite, this is not me saying I am better than any woman. This is not me, you know, trying to put women down, but rather to really point out what our true nature is. And that is to complain and just never be happy. If left.
Come on, dude. You can't. This is even worse than the Christians when they're like, listen, guys, I am very loving of all people, including, especially even the gays, okay? I love all people. I just simply believe that gay people are sinners, living in sin, and are condemned to go to hell for all of their rest of eternity, where they will burn and suffer forever because God thinks that they are disgusting and are defiled and really worthy of being stoned, at least according to Leviticus. But hey, hate the sin, love the sinner. This is the exact same crap. I'm not putting women down or anything, okay, guys? I'm just saying women's true nature is that we can never be happy. We're always complaining. We're really dumb. But I'm not putting us down or anything. I'm just saying our true nature is that we are like lower than men. But I'm not saying I'm putting us down. More think of it like I'm putting women lower than men, you know? Like she's saying she's not doing the thing that she then goes on to do.
Unchecked, That's the key if left unchecked. So what I noticed in the space is women will interpret things emotionally before logically. So what I've noticed is phrases like, and mind you, I used to do this at one
Oh no, why are they so obsessed with this? This is like the new crusade for these red pill people.
point, and then I realized, so when men communicate, they really communicate to get the point across. So oftentimes women will say it's how you say it in your tone. So if I say,
again, how you say things and the tone in which you say things is literally a crucial part of communicating, okay? Yeah, that can matter. Do you think if I was like, your partner or someone was like, yeah, babe, I really fucking love you, okay? Tonight I can't wait to just take you out for dinner, okay? We're gonna have a great time then. Ugh, fine, it's gonna be great, okay? What? I didn't say anything wrong, did I? Huh? What's the matter? Doesn't it matter how I'm saying it? The tone in which you say things, Pearl? Are you this fucking retarded? I know you are, but come on. Can you at least try?
if I say that, oh, sorry guys. If I, wait, I'm gonna be a better swear. All right, if I say that lady is, the way the men will, and if she's right there, if I say,
well, are you talking about at the workplace still, or I guess at the bar also? Damn women complaining about being insulted and called fat at their job. Darn those women, man. It's part of an everyday occurrence at a corporate professional office to walk in and be mocked for your weight and the way you look. This is just normal. Darn women. She's so dumb.
Say you're fat. The way the men will process it is they'll look and they'll say, is she fat? And the way the women will process it is it's how you say it. Don't say it like that in your tone. Now, why do I think
No, it's actually kind of both, right? Like, so you probably just shouldn't call somebody fat in a workplace or in general. Like, that's probably not a good idea. That's just called having like good social etiquette. So again, not calling someone fat is just part of like being a functioning human being. But again, that's way too much to expect from Pearl, who at this point I'm almost convinced is actually just a chimpanzee wearing makeup, because that's about where her brain is at. And then second of all, again, the how you say it, your tone. No, I'm pretty sure if you just said, that woman's fat, or if you were like, that woman's really fat, it's going to kind of be rude either way, you know? Maybe you can make it sound a little softer, but again, the tone, the way you say things is crucial. It is critical for good communication, and even more so, it's critical for raising children. So kids pick up very much on how you say it and the tone in which you say things. That's not just for when women talk, that's for kids. For how kids pick up on the tone of things. Do you want to be a good alpha Chad dad? Then it does matter how you say it in your tone, okay? So don't just dismiss this as the woman thing. Look at this as maybe this is something that right now women focus on a little more than men, but maybe it's something valuable that men could focus on sometimes too.
this is a feminine thing? Why don't men do this too? And yes, they do, but typically it's for women. So now when
also, JustPearlyThings looks kind of fat. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that too bluntly? Did it bother her how I said that? Seriously, this shirt looks awful on you, Pearl. It actually looks like you have like a muffin top popping out of each side. Just saying, this woman's fat. This lady is fat here, okay?
you go into a guy's locker room, now I've never been in a guy's locker room, but there's a reason we have phrases like locker room talk. Because I think if women heard the way that men talk in a locker room, a lot of us would go home crying. We can't take it. We're not meant to communicate like that. But
no, it's that what's called locker room talk is oftentimes incredibly demeaning and disgusting, degrading talk about women. It's like she doesn't realize that this kind of stuff doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's like she doesn't understand that when you're in the locker room with all the bros joking about this hot bitch that you just kind of want to fuck, and well, whether she says no or not, dude, who cares? LOL, kind of like joking about edgy shit like that. She doesn't realize that that talk in the locker room can sometimes play a role in the behavior outside of the locker room. She doesn't understand that really pervy and objectifying talk about women all the time with your bros and getting praise and acclamation from other dudes for putting women down and treating them like objects, That can influence how that man is going to treat women outside of the locker room, how he will think about women and talk about women outside of the locker room, Pearl. It's not that women aren't meant to communicate like that. It's that it's unhealthy for human beings to communicate like that and talk about other people like that. You stupid fucking ape.
But when you go into a woman's locker room, now it might be different than how we talk in public, but I mean, there's a reason women will call each other fake instead of saying things to their faces. So what does that say? This is a feminine imperative. This is a feminine point of view. And the problem...
I wonder if any of that has to do with a big social attitude that women need to be a little bit more agreeable and polite and just kind of go with the flow, you know? And that's that, okay? So maybe that kind of contributes to women on average being more likely to sort of, well, put on a polite and kind face, but then let their true feelings known later. Maybe if we socialized people a little differently, then we wouldn't see this same thing happening, Pearl. You ever think about that? Or no? Do you think it's cause my vagina and that's it? Like, what do you think is going on here?
With men nowadays is they've been taught to always think about the woman's point of view. They went to school where they were taught to think about the woman's point of view. They're either in single mother homes or they have a father that always thought about the woman's point of view, right? And that's, how do we see this in society?
Always thought about the woman's point of view? Ah, yes. As we all know, those damn estrogen-filled femoids always have their point of view that 1 + 1 = 2. Oh, the stupid fucking femoid viewpoint. Goddamn woman opinion. What's next? They're going to say that 3 + 3 = 6? Ooh.
Society, we have happy wife, happy life. It's cheaper to keep, or even the idea of a man cave where the woman has the whole house and the man has his little cave in the basement. And even just the reputation of marriage.
No, it's not that a woman has the whole house. It's that they have the whole house, but the one room is where he can just do whatever he wants that's dedicated to him himself. When you have an entire fucking house, the whole house is kind of your place, you know? You could go sit in the living room. But if you want a little place that you can go away and be left alone and drink a beer or something, then there you go.
You know, we have phrases like, women, you can't live with them, you can't live without them, right? Indicating that maybe we're not the easiest to deal with. So basically...
Dude, come on. They say the same thing about men. It's not easy always to get along with people. She's literally using boomer slogans. The boomer bumper sticker is her argument right now, guys. Fuck stats, okay? Fuck anything else. She's the rational one, okay? Notice, by the way, this very not fat woman who's also very not emotional, using much ration and much reason. Notice.
Basically, what happens in the work...
Notice that her big, bold argument here is a bumper sticker that you'll read on a fucking 1989 Ford pickup truck.
Force, and in any industry that women go into, is the men will be working, they'll be doing their thing in either the gym, the workplace, or whatever. They'll have all these male spaces. It used to be bars, gyms, and the women will want the attention from the men. They'll think,
bars and gyms? Don't guys go to bars to pick up on women? Oh, that's what I want, man. Less women at bars. That's what every guy wants. Every guy I talk to actually is complaining about how I used to be able to go into the bar and it was nothing but a big old sausage party, man. Now I walk in and there's fucking women that I kind of want to talk to. Ugh. Hunter, you are funny and smart and totally not a cuck. Lindsay, you are totally very funny and also have a very loving father who adores you and is proud of you.
I need that attention from those men. So they got to figure out a way in. And once the women get in...
I'm sorry, Lindsay. I'm going to have to just do you like your father and block you. Goodbye. You'll never hear from me again.
Into the space, need that attention from those men. So they got to figure out a way in. And once the women get into the space, then they go in from those. And the women will want the attention from the men. They'll think, I need that attention from those men. So they got to figure out a way in. And once the women get into the space, then they go in and say, it's how you say it. I don't like your tone. And then they establish the dreaded HR. Because think about it, guys. Are men really gonna... Are they going to develop HR? Are the men really suing people?
Are the men going to sue each other for sexually harassing women in the workplace? Maybe not. What? Is this men's nature? Guys, okay, listen. The female nature is to complain about being sexually harassed, okay? The male nature is to sexually harass. I'm just speaking facts, bro. Okay? It's not sexual harassment if I couldn't help it, yo. Like, she's so retarded. I can't do it. I just can't believe that she's actually shitting on the idea of HR, having a program within your job that ensures respect of their employees and ensures that people aren't being discriminated against or harassed or sexually harassed within a workplace. Does she not realize that without HR, it would be a nightmare for virtually any massive corporation? What's going to happen? What's going to happen with no HR, with no one to hold them accountable? Do you think men never go to HR? Do you think men never use HR themselves to express certain concerns? My God. This just proves that she's just living on her daddy's credit card. She's probably never even worked a real job in her life. So she's like, who needs HR? You know, you just show up and like type on a computer or something and then you just go home.
People like that. Oh, HR, I forgot, and lawsuits. Human resources and lawsuits. It tends to be more of a woman thing. So, yeah.
Lawsuits? Do you mean who file? I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, obviously, there are way more male lawyers, but as far as who's filing more lawsuits, I think men would probably on average be filing more lawsuits overall because men are just operating more companies and in more positions where it would make sense for them to file lawsuits, I think. What?
Yeah, that lawsuits. Human resources.
All right, let's look up who files more lawsuits. And even if it is women, that's not even a bad thing. Do women file more sexual harassment lawsuits? Because, you know, women probably get sexually harassed more often. So there you go. I'm seeing a lot of divorce, but there are no stats about who files the most lawsuits in general. You are never going to find that. Now, do women file more sexual harassment lawsuits? Probably, but that's a good thing. And anybody arguing against it, again, is a degenerate subhuman ape like Pearl, which is exactly why we watch her, we laugh at her, we call her names, we hope for her Minecraft demise, and then we move on.
Resources and lawsuits. It tends to be more of a woman thing. So, yeah, that's really I want to show you guys broken down. So what we have is the men have a space where they can hang out. Then the women, they say, I want in. So then
keep in mind the spaces that men have to hang out are bars, which I never knew that was only a male place, working, which is not just a male thing, and the gym. Because we all know how you just shat on you can't call people fat because of the darn femoids, and now you're shitting on women also going to the gym. Let's also point that out, okay? She's whining she can't call people fat. She's whining that women complain when called fat. She is shitting on women for trying to go to the gym because the gym is supposed to be the men's space. When I go to the gym, I just want to be surrounded by some sweaty men, dude. So we can't call women fat because of women, and women shouldn't work out because women.
The men say, fine, Susie, you can come in. Now, this applies to bars, this applies to work, and this applies to really anything. So we got the guys. The next step is whining. Okay, so then the women will complain. And then there's typical things. So they'll whine, they'll say, everybody's trying to F me, even though half the time Susie's half naked too. Or
being dressed promiscuously does not warrant somebody trying to make a move on you unconsensually, Pearl. That really shows like a very fucked up view that she has. They've done studies already. They found that the more promiscuous a woman is dressed has no effect on whether or not she is more likely to face assault or abuse, because abuse and assault occurs more so as an act of power and a secondary sexual crime rather than purely a sexual crime. It is a misunderstanding, a devastating misunderstanding that will lead to a bunch of wrong prescriptions, which is what Pearl is doing here, when you think that somebody commits rape because they thought the girl was so hot they couldn't resist her. That's not what's happening. And that only leads then to blaming women for stuff. So everyone is trying to F me. Her being dressed half naked, what's that mean really? For her, it could mean like some like slightly low cut shirt. Who fucking knows anymore? Either way, however you're dressed, doesn't warrant somebody making moves on you unconsensually.
Or they'll say they have trauma from the way men talk, or like something at work traumatized them.
Huh, yeah, I'm sure that that's all just pretend, you know? After all, you weren't just dismissing men doing locker room talk.
So then they'll complain. And then something is given to the women to make them happy. So either human resources, or they'll get money from a lawsuit. So
Yep, that's it, guys. Human resources, man. Women, they're complaining about trauma, and then human resources was implemented. That's what happened, you know? A woman whined, human resources showed up. Just like that. There's nothing else to do except make sarcastic comments. Like she's just rambling and then trying to illustrate as well. I don't know which is more embarrassing.
So my message to women is, if you want to go in the guys' spaces, if you want to go into the bars, if you want to go into work, if you want to go into all these men's spaces, I have no problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is you going into the men's spaces and then whining about the way men talk and suing them later. That's my issue. And so we really need to...
So you can't just sue somebody and like get money. If you would have to actually have a case. You realize that, right? Like you can't just sue somebody because a man said something that made you upset or something. That's not what happened. You know this. You don't win a lawsuit unless there's fucking evidence of what actually happened. Unless you have faced something that the company is liable for. So for example, if you were sexually harassed, made reports, they were never taken seriously, then you file a lawsuit, then you might have something. Then you might actually have something, okay? But it's just like women complain and then they get money from lawsuits. Yup, that's how it is, man. Oh, the joys to be a woman. All you need, okay, is to just be a woman and complain, and the nearest court will give you money from some kind of a lawsuit. In fact, if you're a woman, you can literally just walk into any store and complain and file a lawsuit and then win at least $20,000. It's amazing.
Publicly shame these women. I'm so tired of these women that are 5, 6s at best, saying how everybody's trying to sleep with them.
Oh my God.
Man.
Oh, she's so lost. Oh, this poor lost retarded lamb. Oh, it's like watching a dying sheep bleed through a corn maze for the final moments of its life. Oh, you poor thing. You need a shepherd. You need a hospice nurse. This is terminal mental illness, what we are viewing here, man. So again, girls only 5s or 6s saying everyone's trying to fuck them. This is, I don't really know what to say. Like, obviously, a woman's appearance doesn't really play that much role in having unwanted advances made on you. Now, it might be true that if you are a really, really hot girl, maybe you're more likely to get catcalled or anything. But like, this is ridiculous. This notion that you couldn't have been sexually harassed because you're not cute enough, you're not hot enough, is such a fucked up way to view this issue that you don't even realize how that leads to just blaming women almost. So she has to be lying because she's not cute enough, but then what if she wears something kind of slutty, right? Is she cute enough now? Now if she claims, now what's going to happen? Now she's maybe a 9 to you, Pearl, okay? Now she says, everybody's trying to F me. And then what are you going to say? Well, you're just trying to dress slutty, aren't you? Ha! Maybe you should just try covering up, bitch. And then what happens when she does that? You couldn't have been harassed. You're only a 5 or a 6, bitch. She is creating a fucking warped, like, world almost in which there is no way that the woman can ever win. Whether or not a girl is a Victoria's Secret model or not doesn't matter when it comes to their risk of being abused and the validity of their claims that they were abused. Again, I don't think that if someone just says they were harassed, that means you should immediately demonize the man. But I do think that your immediate reaction should first be one of empathy and sympathy and understanding, and not one of you're too ugly to have that happen. Not to mention, last but not least, Pearl, you talk all the time about how men are naturally wanting to go out and fuck all the time. They just want to fuck, fuck, fuck. You know, that's why men shouldn't be exclusive, all this shit. So are you really that surprised that a man or multiple men wouldn't be trying to fuck a girl that you would rate a 5 or a 6? Like, even within her own disgusting sexist narrative that she's constructed, it's contradictory, which is why she is either an immaculate grifter or she is the dumbest person on earth and somehow has made it this far.
Ma'am, you got to at least be an 8 for that. And it's true, because a lot of times when we say
she's
this,
just doing that. She's just doing the you couldn't have been harassed or anything because you're not cute enough. It's disgusting. Like, even there are elderly women who have been assaulted and abused, because the people that commit those types of crimes, especially ones that go as far as rape, people that commit those crimes, it's an act of power and dominance motivated by a sexual thing as well. So that's why when someone commits those heinous types of crimes, they are committed towards anyone vulnerable that they feel they can take advantage of. This is why, whether you're dressed promiscuous or not, whether you're young or old, or whether you're a 4 or a 9, according to Pearl, then there is a risk there. And that's why it's important to understand this kind of crime and understand what motivates it. Because if you don't, then you slip into this shit. Then you slip into the, well, maybe if you weren't so cute, then guys wouldn't be fucking you. Because you see, or guys wouldn't be harassing you. Because you see, guys are mindless penis machines, and they see a hot woman, and similar to how cartoon characters used to smell a pie and start floating towards it, well, they open their mouth drooling and then start floating towards your boobies, okay? They can't help it. It's up to you, ladies. Cover that shit up. Like, it's actually the most low-grade view of men also when you take this approach. And that's another thing that's really, really interesting, because she tries to take this I care about the men crap all the time, but her viewpoints require that you view men as these mindless fucking machines who have no self-control whatsoever.
Women base things off of how we feel. So if a woman feels they were trying to do that, then essentially they were. We just have this tendency to blow things out of proportion. And it's really not even our fault. It's just how we are. But the problem is...
It's just how we are, man. Woohoo. Yep. Women, man, they always have... It's just... I tell you, every time a woman is sexually harassed and assaulted, they always blow it out of proportion, you know? It's not like it's a literal crime or anything. You know, it's not like that is a literal legal issue, right? It's not like you can file a lawsuit partially because you're getting into really murky legal territory there or anything, right? No, it's just women blowing it out of proportion.
Out of proportion. And it's really not even our fault. It's just how we are. But the problem is we've lied to women and men about the way women are. Yeah, so my final thought is, women's, please stop going into the men's spaces and complaining about the way men are. And stop dressing half naked and not expecting men to hit on you at work.
At work. Okay, so deliberately sexual harassment at work. Okay, that's what she is saying right now. She's actually defending sexual harassment at work. Dude, this is just easy content for me. Come on. Come on. Who's funding this? Dude, she wants to set us back so far. Could you imagine this? Well, Brenda, maybe if you decided to wear pantyhose with that skirt, then I wouldn't have felt the need to grab your ass. You ever think about that one, bitch? No, of course not. Selfish hoe, get out of the men's spaces. It's literally her video summarized. Oh, it's so bad. People dress half naked at work? Where? Yeah, I think she thinks that every job women are dressing like the women that work down at like the strip club or something.
I think we can all agree on this. So let me know what you guys think. Maybe Pearl's crazy. All of these opinions are opinions nonetheless.
They're just opinions, guys. Just opinions, okay? I promise. I love, by the way, when people do that, when they say it's just my opinion as like a defense thing. Like that doesn't make it any better. You're just acknowledging that your opinion is this fucking dumb. That's bad, man. Just having an opinion does not give you a pass. That's another common conservative argument as well, that an opinion is enough. Or just it's just an opinion. They'll say things like that a lot too. It used to be the opinion, just their opinion, that black people should still be slaves. That used to be an opinion too, you know? And that was a wrong opinion. And your opinion, Pearl, is not only wrong, it is actually so incredibly harmful and detrimental for women everywhere. It's not even funny. So think about it this way, right? What does she complain about a lot too about women? Women being hypergamous, meaning that women want to always go for the highest status man, the wealthiest, the best looking, those kind of things, right? That's what she says that women are like. And she'll bring this up as a bad thing. But yet at the same time, get rid of HR. Women shouldn't care if they're being sexually harassed at the workplace. Well, what if they do? And then they leave? What if they leave that job then? Now, what if it's really getting difficult for them to find work where they're not being subjected to harassment and now they have nowhere to go to really report that? So maybe they just don't have a job. Well, now what are they going to do? Well, they're going to need someone to support them, right? So wouldn't it actually make sense, Pearl, for that woman to go for the guy of the highest status? Isn't your argument, your narrative, contributing to women being hypergamous? You're literally making the problem worse, complaining about the problem, and profiting from the problem. And that's what these dumb motherfucking cunts do all the fucking time. Pearl specifically. Contribute to the issue, and she gets to profit right back from it. It's some of the most disingenuous, degenerate type of behavior. And again, this is why I call Just Pearly Things, Just Pick Me Things. Because you are either brain dead, you're either a dumb cunt, or you are just desperate to be picked by the guys and seen as the good one. Probably you're a pack of all three, and definitely daddy issues. But regardless, Just Pearly Things, I need to stop watching your content for a bit because it's not worth getting this mad. Sometimes it's like the blatant stupidity just sets me off. Okay, bye, Pearl. And next time you're driving home in Minecraft, please be very, very careful not to do your makeup when going over a really high bridge getting work done on its railing in Minecraft. Ay, ay, ay. It reduces men to a wallet. Oh, you're right. That's a good point. I didn't think of that also, yeah. Don't do your makeup while driving over a tall bridge, Pearl. Ay, ay, ay. All right. I think this might be my new thing to keep streaming longer, is where I go segment, then I take a short break where I just take a step off stream and I get a drink of water and everything. And then I just come back and it's like a nice little refresh. Because I've already streamed now over 2 hours, doing pretty good. People who perpetuate sexual assault should be chemically castrated and also lose their hands and maybe their eyes. That may be a little extreme. I mean, I despise people like that too, but there might be some legal problems there doing things like that towards people that have simply advocated for something and not even done anything. All right. I'll be right back. What's up? What's up? Jason A says, I don't know what Discord is. Okay, here. I'll send you a link. All I got to do is... There you go. It says that. Invite. Actually, you know what? Even better. Let me send you a direct link straight to it. So you can... All you got to do is call in. That's it. Here. Click this link. And there you go. You don't need to be a jobless soy boy to know what Discord... Yeah, true. Some of us have jobs as a lame excuse to act like you can't look up Discord while you're taking time to comment on YouTube Live. Yeah, seriously. I always see that one too. That's another common one. We have jobs. All right? I can sit here and watch your stream and comment all day and bitch at you, okay? But I don't have 5 minutes to call into your Discord. I'm working to the bone of the factory mill. Alrighty. Remember, if you guys want to support the channel, put something in that super chat. If we can make a goal to around 50 today, which we're getting a little closer, then maybe I can bring the rats out and they'll come out and give you a royal gay thank you. All right. Give me 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah, sure. Just, you know, if your username is different on Discord, you might just need to let me know, and then be more than happy to pull you right in. We can talk about whatever you want. Touch grass? I don't touch grass. I smoke it. That should be a t-shirt right there. I don't touch grass. I smoke it. Hey, Cactus Clyde, thanks for the $2. Did someone say rats? There you go. Yeah. Who's on the debate agenda next? I guess this guy from chat. We don't really have any people calling in right now, but I think we're going to... I want to debate you on something you literally don't make sense on. Okay. Sure. I would buy that shirt, Hunter. Should it be just text or should it have a picture on it? What do you guys think? Should it just be text or should it be like a picture? Because you can't have, you probably don't want to walk around with a picture of like marijuana on your shirt. I do meth. Okay, well, maybe we can do merch for meth next month. What would like the picture be? Should it be like maybe just a white t-shirt with grass, like at the bottom, like here, and then just text that says, I don't touch grass, I smoke it? Or should it be a weed leaf?
He also noted that I am an ape and I should go F myself.
I smoke nicotine. Guys, I don't have meth shirts yet, okay? Come on now. All right, well, I'm going to wait a minute then to get on to the any other segments because if we might have some people joining here. I know this Jason guy said he's going to join in about 5 minutes. Mary Jane floral print. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Those shirts cost so much more money to manufacture, and then the price has to be up higher. Nah, this is going to be better. It's like a very simple t-shirt and then maybe like a hoodie too, since it's getting to be warmer or colder out. So a Mary Jane leaf maybe? Let's see what this looks like. I might just mess around with this. Weed hoodie. Yo, Hunter, nice pot of sticks. Thank you. I'm glad you like my pot of sticks. It's not as cool as pot, but you know, it's still better than nothing. This looks kind of cool. What about this, guys? Hold on. Hold on. Is it desktop one? Oh, great. Which desktop is it? Bruh. There it is. Okay, and then if I turn that off, it's back to that. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, look. Here. What do you guys think of that? Would that be cool on a shirt? That way it's maybe ambiguous. So it's pretty obvious what it means to people that are into it. And then other people, it kind of looks pretty innocent. And it's kind of got like a grainy look to it. I think that looks kind of sick. I want to shove sticks up my ass. Thank you for telling me that. My life is much better now that I know that fact. Thank you. What do you guys think? So maybe like that. Should it, and I'm not sure if this background should be cropped out or if it should literally just be like the picture and then the text like above and below it maybe. That might be cool. Cool. Thanks for the idea, guys. Maybe I'll get that up and running on stream. Stream is getting weird. The reason stream is getting weird, yes, make it like the old 2012 meme templates. Really? I don't know about that one. The square around it looks more amateur. I can just cut the background out pretty quickly. Yeah, maybe that is a good idea then. What is that, origami balloon knot? No, it's an origami picture of marijuana. Thoughts on dharmic religion? I have no idea. I'm waiting. The reason that stream is getting weird right now, guys, is because I'm in the middle of waiting for people to come onto the Discord. And if they don't show up here in the next like 5 minutes or so, I'll just go onto the topic. Don't worry. How are your kids? They're doing great. Rose started her first day of school yesterday, and she had a really good first day. And her teachers told me that she was really good. Of course, I picked her up, and we went to Waffle House, just me and her to celebrate. Had a little date, a little daddy-daughter date. And then this morning, Rose was dropped off at school again, and then Willie's still going to daycare. So he was a little sad because he used to go to daycare with Rose, and now she's at school. So he's been pretty sad about it. So this morning, me and Willie got a chance to go to we just went to McDonald's this morning and got something, just me and him, because I've been really wanting to spend time with my little guy. I get to spend time a lot with my kids, but I don't get to have as much one-on-one time with William and with them that I would like, since both of them are always together pretty much. So it was really nice. Yeah. I love Waffle House. Yeah, the Waffle House over by where we live knows us too. So whenever we walk in, they always are like, "Oh, hi, Rose. Hi, Will." And they always see Rose always wants to wear a pretty dress. to show the nice waitress. Really cute. What is this edit? Yeah, I don't know. My software like stopped doing the shit it was supposed to. It's supposed to just like snap and just click, but it's not for some reason. So. Why do your kids go to daycare if you work from home? Why are you still commenting in my chat if you're not on my Discord? Bitch. And also, they're at daycare because I work from home. Doesn't mean that I can be with my children. What am I doing right now, dude? Do you think I'd be able to be watching my kids and taking care of them at the same time? Every time Hunter says bitch, I flash back to Jesse Pinkman. Where's my money, bitch? Okay, let's go over a couple more topics then before the day is concluded. Jason says 5 minutes. Yeah, it's fine. Just whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter. We're going to just go over a couple more things anyway. Oh, no. This might be a video to watch right now that is not going to be monetized at all, but this might be one to just... This might be a real uncomfortable one, boys. Oh, boy.
What's that thing in your...
Oh, no. Why do I have to stumble upon these videos live on stream? This is going to be really bad, guys. All right, hunker down, boys. You guys, do you remember Girl Defined? Does anybody here remember Girl Defined? They just dropped a new video. Okay, this is going to be a mature content. So this is a fighting freedom from porn, erotica, and masturbation as a Christian woman. Yes! Let's go! Let's do it, boys! Not masturbate. Don't do that right now, please. Stay here watching my stream.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to session number...
Oh no. Oh no. They have everything disabled too. Oh shit. This might not be worth my time. I'm like morbidly curious.
And it's, I think, 170 questions. Is that how many it is now?
170 questions.
170 questions.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the cutest little box. It's like a physical box that has all these little cards in it. And it's something that, oh, there it is, a little picture.
Okay, hold on. We can hear hear the voice. Really? I hate that they censor words in the transcript. Now I can't search it. Oh no. Yeah, this might not be worth my time.
Women here who are like, I'm like 35, I'm single, like I'm probably not going to call mommy and daddy and be like, I've been struggling, you know. It might be that you're gonna...
But what are they talking about the struggle with? Okay, yeah, this looks like some good content. I'm gonna start right over here.
to find freedom in the gospel. So that's why we're talking about this. So fast forward a little bit, Kristen, and share with us like the next part of your story.
Mm-hmm.
So is she talking about being a single person and resisting sexual temptation, as in having a sexuality as a woman? Or are they talking about like resisting looking at pornography when you're married, which is a very different thing, I think, because that's going to depend on the partner's boundaries a lot. Yeah, I don't think I'm going through this right now. Sorry, guys. I DM'd Bethany asking for advice about battling my bisexuality as a joke, and she left me on red. Oh, no. Yeah, shout out to Jason. Jason. All right, let's go ahead and go over this last part that I wanted to talk about, the white savior thing.
This is the Hunter.
Yo, Hunter, I'm ready. Ready for what?
Well, I gotta say, this is a shock. I never expected all 4 of you to just come forward and admit it, but you know what? I'm happy with these results.
I just think it's a lot of people, I guess, people, you know, of the left, whatever, can kind of fall into that trap of thinking that, you know, black people as a monolith need to be saved as a whole.
I have no shame about it. I have a savior complex as an older brother, and I will save you whether you like it or not. So that's just me.
Well, it's definitely not, because a lot of us are really just exhausted of being viewed as our skin color. Because when you have this mindset that you need to save black people and we're just sitting here minding our own business and living our lives the way we want to, I don't know why it is that people feel this immense pressure to be so apologetic and just always trying to cater and
I like so far that they have, all the liberals came forward and acknowledged also that, yeah, white liberals all kind of, not all, but like some white liberals have a savior complex.
Model to black people when we just want to be treated like everybody else. We're equal for a reason.
I think especially recently with a lot of riot stuff that's gone on or protest stuff that's gone on, people on the left tend to infantilize a lot of different types of protesters, and especially even talking to, you know, some of the other black content creators I do content with, when you hear a lot of progressives come out and say, well, they don't have a choice but to riot or break into the store, or well, they're stealing, you know, these electronics or shoes for good reasons, you just don't realize it. I think a lot of people kind of...
Yeah, he's definitely right, actually. That's a good point. I didn't even think of that one. That's a good point. And yes, for those asking, that this is Destiny. Yeah, that's absolutely true. When the riots were happening and whatnot, I think what people would bring up, because I remember, Hunter, those white guys in this video are literally you. You're laughing at yourself. I'm a liberal myself. I'm also a white liberal, yes. I don't think that I have a savior complex, as far as I do not think that all black people need to be saved and coddled by us, the whites or something. No, I think that just acknowledging systemic racism and inequality and whatnot can lead towards a better world. But if you think that makes us the same, then I guess you're just as retarded as your name is. So anyway, what was I saying before? Oh yeah, sometimes people bring up the quote, they'll say, because MLK would say, riots are the voice of the unheard. That can be true, but again, context. What was the context when MLK said that, right? Black people at the time didn't have the same type of option to go through the system, right? But nowadays you do. So when you are rioting and fucking up your own neighborhood and stealing a bunch of shit, no, that's not okay. No, you don't infantilize those people. No, you don't go, oh, well, they're just, you know, they had no choice. They needed those new sneakers because blah, blah. No. Shut the fuck up. It's okay to say, hey, this is a bad thing to do. Don't do that. We don't need to make excuses for everything black people do. That's the white savior crap right there.
look both ways, and it's a little bit weird.
I really hate when Hunter says the R word. I'm neurodivergent and have been called that ever since I was diagnosed. So for a little while, I tried to stop saying it. I'm not neurodivergent myself. So one, I think that we can try, what I'm doing is it's an experiment, okay? I want our community to try and reappropriate that word. I feel like that word is already moving very quickly towards just meaning silly and wrong and goofy or something else. When people, just like stupid used to be an ableist word. It's not really ableist anymore. Like if I said that's stupid, no, I'm not. I don't think that I'm shitting on people who might be cognitively disabled. Like that's, no one does it like that.
That there's such a complex on the left to excuse like every single possible negative behavior from somebody as long as they're a skin color that you're kind of in charge of protecting.
I find that very offensive.
Yeah.
I find it
really
extremely, it upsets me to hear that because we're just like you. We just have
ADHD is a form of neurodivergence, yes. So is like OCD, anxiety, depression. All right. Hey, I'm a professional mentally ill person over here, basically, okay?
a different skin color, and to hear that you have to help me is offensive to me. I can do it on my own.
Well, we have to break down sometimes why these riots happen. You know, MLK once said that riots are the voice of the unheard.
What did I say just now? Because I brought that up before too, but when I brought it up then, I brought it up in the same type of way that I just gave you guys a breakdown of here, about how, yes, MLK said that, but it's also very contextual based on the context. Black people are able to protest peacefully and advocate for changes within the system nowadays. And that's already happened even with certain things that Biden and his administration have passed. They can work within the system. Rioting is the voice of the unheard and is the voice of the people that are not represented by the system any longer and have no choice but to act out in that way. That was not the case for the BLM riots. This was a bunch of civil unrest. There was a bunch of COVID stuff. The George Floyd thing had everybody running hot. Some people took advantage of it and went crazy and started fucking smashing up stores and stealing shit. This isn't the voice of the struggling, unheard, oppressed person. This is somebody taking advantage of civil unrest.
So if you are to address the problem and stop the riots, you have to address the underlying inequality that has historically been pervasive. You know, even if you as individual people are doing fine and you don't want anybody else to get in the way of that.
So what I would say about this is not so much the people rioting and that's like they're struggling. Or I think it's more because of why do riots occur in the first place? Like I just said, the civil unrest. And the civil unrest at that time, COVID was partially something that we had very little control over. But when we're talking about the George Floyd thing, in that case, the issue you would fix there to try and prevent riots would be improving relations between police and civilians, because that will reduce civil unrest. So again, you can definitely like make some kind of an argument there. Of course, again, like people are going to commit any kind of crime committed is going to have a reason. And if that reason is due to something that we can try to address to try to cut back on that thing happening again, it's not a bad thing to aim for, but it's also really nuanced. And if you don't go about it right, then it just sounds like you're just making excuses for people going and smashing up their neighborhoods and stealing stuff.
That's cool, and I'm not going to be the one to get in the way, but the disparities are undeniable.
So if you take pride in having like a white savior complex.
Did you say the MLK quote wasn't even talking about riots? Okay, let me look it up. It does say. It's failed to hear. Explained 53 years ago. Okay, let me. Because it sounds like what it's saying is that it's the voice of those who are unheard and are not being represented by the system, which is kind of what my takeaway was. Oh, do I have to sign up? No. The riots are socially destructive and self-defeating, but in the final analysis, a riot is the language of the unheard. And what is it that America has failed to hear? It has failed to hear that the plight of the Negro poor has worsened over the last few years. It has failed to hear that the promise of freedom and justice have not been met. and it has failed to hear that large segments of white society are more concerned about tranquility and the status quo than about justice, equality, and humanity. And so in a real sense of our nation's summers of riots are caused by our nation's winters of delay. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these reoccurrences of violence and riots over and over again. So yeah, it's true. He was not at all defending riots, but his analysis was, I mean, I remember going over this quote a couple of years ago. So yeah, he's talking about riots are bad, don't do it, but they happen again for a reason. And there are social inequalities and problems there. So again, that George Floyd was valid though, I feel. Wait, George Floyd being, what happened to George Floyd was fucking horrible. And advocating for change is absolutely necessary. But you can advocate for that change without rioting. But again, it's like what he said, that riot is going to continue to happen when there is this civil unrest because justice isn't being met. And so, yeah, riots are bad and destructive, but we're going to see them continue to flare up because they are a result of civil unrest.
Complex. What is it that you think that you're doing to save Black people, and what is it that you think that you're saving Black people from?
I am trying to make the world a better place through whatever means I can.
But you're doing it on the backs of us.
I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, I actually do. I feel like you want to be a savior and you're using me to make yourself feel good. That's what I'm hearing.
How am I hurting you?
You're not letting me have my own voice. You're not letting me speak.
How? You're speaking now?
No,
you're cutting her off.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I have.
Come on. I hate when people do this. How am I not letting you have a voice? You just interrupted her. It's like, come on, dude. What do you really think?
Have to.
Yeah. Well, what's happening, I mean, you're speaking right now. You're speaking right now in this particular setting. Mm-hmm. But what you're saying is, like, you took it back to riots and so forth, and it makes it seem like the only way that we as Black people can have a voice is by riots, and then you need to come along and you need to say, okay, poor little Black child, let me help you. That's offensive to me. And I feel like you're making yourself feel good about trying to help us. And
I also think that, like, when we talk about damage, I think especially when it comes to a lot of the shoplifting stuff that's going on in certain cities, you get a lot of white people that live in nice suburbs saying things like shoplifting is no big deal, that's fine, and then you'll catch YouTube videos of them later on being in a Walgreens in like a shoddy neighborhood, and they're like, man, why is the deodorant behind a locked case? It's very easy to sit behind a gated community and say, oh, well, it's not a big deal, they steal because they have to. Riots are the language of the unheard. I think people haven't read the full context of that quote. When MLK was saying riots were the language of the unheard, and you need to—
Thank you, Destiny. I'm really fucking glad that he is addressing the actual context of that quote. I don't think, I must have not remembered the full quote or something. I'm glad I looked it up because that is really good to know.
To address the underlying condition. He wasn't condoning the rioting, he was just understanding it.
Obviously there are a bunch of white people that
I feel like they shouldn't the guy have had the ability to respond? This woman just said it was offensive and all this shit, and
they need to be a savior, but I think there's a difference between helping and saving. Like, I don't
see, this is such a dumb way to go about it. I'm sorry. You're like, no, I'm sorry. I don't think I'm out here helping Black people. No. I think that in general, I try to raise awareness about some social inequalities and certain systemic inequalities. And if that can bring a benefit and lead to positive change, great. But I'm not going to go down here and be like, I'm helping Black people today. Like, no. It's just. Destiny said that this was a 3.5 hour long segment that they edited into 45 minutes. Oh shit. So they probably cut out a lot. That makes me a little bit more nervous to go on these things too, because then it's like, oh, so they could just cut something and decide that I'm going to lose that engagement, even if I didn't.
think I would need to save Black people, but I would tremendously love to help and make sure everyone has like equal outcome, or not equal outcome, but at least equal opportunity, which in my opinion, I feel we do not have in this country.
This is awkward. Hi guys.
Whoa.
So I didn't step
Oh my God. I'm sorry about that. Oof, my ears. I'm so sorry.
forward just because I don't want to broad brush all white liberals as having a white savior complex. I have experienced white liberals who do have that, and they're very unpleasant people. But I don't think every single white person who's a liberal or who is an activist for BLM or any of those things necessarily has a white savior complex. I think that there's a lot of white people who genuinely think that black
Vosh gave good advice on how to handle stuff. My guess that his advice, I don't know what his advice was. I'm curious what he said, but my guess would be that it's make whatever you're responding as short and snappy as fucking possible. So it's easy to keep it in. You're not going to get cut if you're not talking a lot or too much whenever you get that.
people are oppressed and they want to help, and that's what they're told.
What it seems like to me, when most people have savior complex, regardless of whom they're trying to save, it's like they're taking real pain and real trauma and using that as a way to push this political agenda, but also to alleviate themselves of whatever guilt that they feel unnecessarily. Like, I don't know why a white person today would feel guilty for things that happened decades ago, let alone something that happened centuries ago.
I've never seen a white person say, I personally feel guilty for slavery. Maybe
I have. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna say who, because it's somebody that I may or may not be in my family that I'm pretty sure has like hardcore white guilt. Hardcore white guilt, man.
they're out there, but I've never heard that.
Yeah, in second grade when they taught us about slavery, almost every kid in my classroom would spend their entire time looking at black kids in that classroom. How was I supposed to not think, wow, these people are feeling guilty for something that they have no involvement in and I have no involvement in?
Every kid in my classroom.
That would definitely be very uncomfortable and awkward no matter what.
Understood the context.
People hate feeling uncomfortable, and obviously you don't want to feel like the bad guy, and so I feel like it comes from a place of like, oh, well, like, let me make sure that I'm different and like I'm showing you that I want to like help you, but it comes across like I think it can land very poorly.
I'll tell you what, stop it. Stop it. Because what happens is when you put yourself...
Did you say okay? Was you just like, okay? Wait, did you just say okay?
Very poorly.
I'll tell you what, stop it. Stop it. Because what happens is when you put yourself...
Stop it. Yes, ma'am. Zipping my lip and throwing away the key now.
As the white savior, what you do is you elevate yourself above the black person because you feel then like you have to save us. So just stop it. Just treat everybody right.
I don't think it's that, yeah. And she actually isn't even entirely wrong there. That, yeah, the white savior complex specifically does take that approach, that you need to be the one to save them. That's bullshit. No, you're not better and in a place where you can save them. It's more, for me, I just look at it as trying to raise awareness and explain concepts in ways that can hopefully make sense to more people. Obviously, I still get a lot of pushback and people still say I don't make any sense, et cetera, et cetera. And that's always going to be part of what I do. But I do really take seriously trying to break down progressive ideals that I know for me personally, I've heard repeated over and over and over again in the most deranged ways with no context, sounding so stupid to the point that they're buzzwords. I like to be able to actually explain those things in ways that make sense and separate the real concept from the insanity of a lot of the fucking online liberals.
Regular and normal, just like I would treat you regular and normal, you treat us regular and normal rather than trying to save us.
I just got one thing I wanted to bring up earlier about taxes, because you were saying that you had your job and you were talking about how like you get the tax every time and you're like seeing your tax go up. I worked in nursing homes in 2020 COVID.
There's a difference between white guilt and white saviors. Yeah, sure, but if you're a white savior, then odds are you're going to be motivated at least partially by some guilt, right? I mean, it seems at least it's not inconceivable or anything.
Last thing that was on my mind when I watched 60 and 70-year-olds on their deathbeds suffocating to death was taxes.
I really don't like this.
I was worried about health care. I didn't give a shit about taxes in that time.
Okay. I don't really like this form of argumentation. What you could say is that I was working here and I witnessed a lot of people suffering. And I'll be honest, taxes didn't seem that important to me, or didn't seem that important to the people dying. I think what we could do is, sure, people don't want to give up more money in taxes necessarily, but when you talk about, say, a socialized form of medicine, like a public option, which is desperately needed in this country, mind you, then maybe you will see a slight increase in your taxes. Sure, but then guess what? You're going to save money otherwise that you would be losing to medical costs. So maybe you do have to pay a little more in taxes, sure, but you're going to save that money in other ways. Being emotional is cringe, I guess. No, it's not being emotional that's cringe, dum-dum. It's the only using emotion and not giving any kind of follow-up to it to validate that emotion. That's cringe.
So when I go to work every day, that's what I see. That's what I want to fix.
I see you once again elevating yourself above the rest of us, and particularly at me, a white man elevating himself above a black person.
How is he elevating himself? Oh, that would be so annoying. And she's doing the identity politics thing. Oh, really? I thought you wanted to be treated just like everybody else. I'm elevating myself over everyone. You just said that, right? Why are you highlighting that I'm elevating myself over a black person? You said everyone. I am. I'm elevating my voice because it's my turn to talk. God damn.
He called me a bootlicker. He called me a bootlicker.
Oh no, I triggered them all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm chilling, buddy.
So what I hope comes out of this conversation is that we're all Americans, and because we're all Americans, we know that America has a bunch of problems, and I think every person here wants to solve the problems, and I think everybody is bringing what they have to the table with their ideas on how to get us to unify. This kind of stuff, right? But you got something in there. Hopefully, I mean, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you have something in there that's redeeming about you that would bring all of Americans together. So
she's just doing the typical spiel, you know. You're elevating your voice over a black woman. Meanwhile, I said that I don't care about identity politics. I'm sick of being treated a specific way for my skin color and that I just want to be treated equally. Now you're treating me equally, and I'm going to point out that you're elevating your voice over a black woman. First idiotic point she made there. The second thing is, she's giving this spiel, which is easy to agree with. Of course, yeah. Can we all just come together, dude? Let's just like smoke a blunt together and like have a fucking picnic, man. You know, I just hope we walk out of here. We're all just Americans. Yeah, bruh. Great. Yeah, that does sound nice. Okay. Sure. Hippie paradise calls you. It beckons me too. I get it. But this is the real fucking world. And we are all Americans. And we should all be treated equal. But because of certain historical reasons and certain subconscious biases, we do not receive the same level of equality.
I hope that we end on the note of American.
UNITY.
I would like to say we're all made in the image of God, and so we're all...
Well, that's embarrassing for God, for some of these people.
Have our inherent worth just because we're made in his image, and we should treat each other as fellow image bearers, not just by the color of our skin. I mean, as Martin Luther King said.
He also...
The one quote that conservatives know, guys, you know? Color of your skin, not your character, not your color of your skin.
Not like capitalism.
I think something that's really challenging, I've definitely been guilty in the past of throwing around the Uncle Tom word. I used to be hardcore progressive. I'm still relatively progressive. But something that I've learned as time has gone on is being a white person isolates you from a lot of the different types of racial struggles that people go through. And those struggles can take a lot of different forms. Not just, you know, was my ancestor a slave, and not just is my culture bad, but sometimes in the way that, you know, people grow and develop, right? Like, am I actually choosing these political beliefs because they mean something to me, or is it because I'm black or my parents are black? If I speak a certain way, am I betraying my race? If I am a political orientation, am I a bootlicker? And I think that it's important when you're coming from a progressive point of view to understand that even though there are conservatives that are black people, you have to treat them as individuals and not just come at it with this like, you're black, you're a conservative, therefore here's like 6 or 7 different slurs that I can use against you, but they're approved because I happen to be on the progressive side.
Dude, they really let Destiny get the last word in there. That was pretty solid ending point there too. See, Destiny does really good with this shit because he talks in a way that conservatives really empathize with, and he has taken a step back from the more aggressive debate style, which I'm still kind of in the middle of right now, to be honest. He's definitely moved more towards like a more conversational debate approach. And that's not bad at all. I think that he does really good with that, and it's very convincing to a lot of people. So yeah, some white people have white guilt, but there are ways that you can go about assessing these problems and talking about some disadvantages that black people have compared to white people without acting like a white savior and making excuses for rioting and all this other crap. There are ways that you can do both. Hunter, you have a bug on your desk? Oh. Yeah, there was a little bug flying around here earlier. All right, guys. Let me go ahead and check my donuts here. We have streamed for over 3 hours today. Woohoo! We did it! You attract more bees with honey and not vinegar. That's a dumb way to look at things, my friend, because it's not just about attracting people by being nice. You also have to be mean to people that deserve it. And then that will attract genuinely nice and good people. I don't want people that are just like phony nice. All right, I will leave you all. I will leave you all with a joke before I go, okay? So, a neo-Nazi and a paleoconservative both jump off of a massively high tower to see who will win. Who's going to reach the bottom first? Who won? Anybody know the answer? The answer is society. And that is the joke that I will leave you all on today. Now let's go and check out another channel to raid. I will send you guys over to... Oh, why don't you guys go watch some Chud Logic today? Hate this part. I know. Oh, wait. Debate? You're ready? Oh, okay. Hold on. Wait. Never mind. Ghost power. I'm coming. You're invited. Sorry. Ryback? I thought it was ghost power. Hello? Are you the person from my chat?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're Ryback, you said? Or Ryback? Ryback.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry, yeah, I forgot about you in the queue. My bad. So what's up?
Yeah, we did it a long time ago.
Oh, do you remember what we talked about?
Yeah, it was like Andrew Tate and whether it's okay for men to cheat. But that's not even what I want to debate today.
Okay, sure. So what do you want to debate this time?
I don't. So I heard you debate another guy the other day, and you were saying your definition of what a female is. I mean, a woman is, and he was saying his definition. To become a woman, you have to like have some type of gender dysphoria.
Yes.
And you were saying no, you just gotta identify it. And
Yes.
what I wanted you to tell me is clarify on that. I don't agree with your definition because it doesn't exactly make sense. His made a little bit more sense, even though I don't agree that anyone can become a woman. But if I had to pick a definition, his made a little bit more sense than yours because yours makes absolutely like I don't get it. Like, can you clarify
watch
on that?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. I'm just out of curiosity. Did you watch the whole debate or did you kind of just like skip through it a little bit?
I watched the whole debate. I didn't skip through it.
Okay. I thought that I gave a decent breakdown in that one, but I also remember some people saying it was a little bit confusing. So I understand that completely. So totally fair. But yeah, my definition is that well, first of all, let me break it down as simply as I can. Okay, so obviously you know my approach that sex and gender are two separate things. There is sex, which is the biological side of things, hormones, everything else. And then there is gender, which is like the social expectation, presentation, and roles that we tend to assign to people. That, yes, those assignments are correlated with biology, but we have socially decided to correlate them with biology. So there is a disconnect from a social element of gender and a biological thing called sex. Gender refers to a socially constructed spectrum, which is a broad social understanding that we all share. We all generally, at least in America, give or take, can sort of agree on a spectrum of masculinity and femininity, of certain behaviors that are more seen as feminine or more seen as masculine, right? And
yeah.
right. And it's not just behaviors and presentation, but it's more so this whole conglomeration of things influences the internal identity that you hold of yourself. So if you're told you are a man, here's what it looks like to be a man, here's what that means for you to be a man, here's how you should act because you're a man, that is going to inevitably be something you internalize and take on as a part of your identity as a man. So does that much make sense?
Yeah, but you don't think there's anything men naturally do and women females naturally do and males naturally do?
Oh, sure. No, don't get me wrong. There are absolutely certain natural things that happen. Like, yeah, it's true. Like, since males on average have more testosterone, it might be natural that males are, I don't know, maybe more athletic. I don't want to say more athletic, but more, I don't know, just more likely to engage in certain things because of that fact. Sure. But again, just if there is a natural thing that does occur, I'm not saying that's bad. But what is bad is the expectation built around that. So like, it's true that males naturally are going to be stronger than females. That's true. But it's harmful to say being a man means that you need to be strong. Oh, you got beat up by a girl? What are you even a fucking man anymore? That's the kind of shit I don't think is okay. So like having a natural thing or this thing or just kind of having differences between males and females, obviously there are differences, and that's fine. I don't think we should discourage that. I just think we should not enforce these gendered expectations. But we are getting a little off subject because I'm not
getting. Yeah. But getting beat up by a woman doesn't. If people start making fun of you saying you're not a man for it, just because they say that doesn't mean you're not a man.
Oh, I know.
Obviously, so like, regardless, like that doesn't make any, like that doesn't really help your argument. I don't see how that helps your argument.
No. I was answering your second question. So I'll break it down more. So now that we've generally agreed that there's the external social construct of gender, which can inform an internal perception of yourself on the basis of that external thing. So I am a man because I see myself this way, I act this way, this is what I prefer to do. And society has sort of categorized a lot of this as being a man. So that's an identity. So that internal identity is what holds the weight. So I am a man whether I'm wearing a dress or whether I put on lipstick or whether I'm super ripped in the most muscular, stereotypical, traditional man ever. I'm a man either way because of my...
You're a man.
Right. Because of my internal identity.
No, because your biology.
No, that's what you're not missing. I'm a male. I am a male. No matter what.
Yeah.
But the man is a sense that you have of yourself. It's an internal identity, an internal perception of that you have of yourself in regards to this external thing.
Is this something you're coming up with, or has this how it's always been?
What do you mean? Like, is this something I'm coming up with?
Okay, when you were a child, did your parents explain what a man and a woman is this way? Did they tell you you can identify as a woman because...
No, they didn't need to tell you that, nor do they need to. That's what it means to be.
How did they define it to you?
They don't. I'm defining it to you and explaining it to you. But the concept existed, of course. I was a boy. My room was blue. There were certain expectations. Even when I was younger, I remember like my dad really wanted me to play sports. I wasn't that into it. He really wanted me to. I gave it a shot, whatever. It wasn't like I was ever abused or forced into any kind of thing. Nothing like that ever happened. But again, yeah, there were expectations right off the bat, a collection of behaviors and expressions and expectations that were placed on me because I am a boy. And again, those expectations are social. We have correlated those expectations with biology. It is not a result of biology.
Make you a boy.
Huh?
Those are expectations, but those expectations don't make you a boy.
I know. It's the internal sense of self that you have of yourself that is formed throughout that process. Yeah, usually parents are going to be like, this is my little boy, because he has a penis, and you're going to put him in a room with Blue and then expect him to play sports when he gets older and play with trucks and whatnot. Sure. And
So
most people, and what, hold on, wait, please, let me just explain this a little bit more. Most people are comfortable too with that. Most people are okay with what it means to be a boy, the way that social thing kind of works, the expectations. Most people are more or less okay with that. And that's what that means to be cis. And then there are some people, a rare minority of people, who are incredibly discomforted by the fact that they are being put in a gendered expectation that somehow is misaligning with a gender side of the spectrum that they otherwise align with more so internally.
Okay, but why would they align with something else internally? That's my question. If you said that biology and the social construct is like correlate, why would somebody align with something that doesn't correlate with what we like? Why would they align with something else? That's what I'm trying to say. Other than
right, and so a good example. Do you know who Blair White is?
I know the name, but I don't know too much about
She's like a transgender conservative. I don't like her at all, obviously, but she did talk about when she was first realizing that she was trans as a very small kid. She was talking about being 4 years old, and it was her first day at school, she said, and she was with the boy stuff, and there was all the blue stuff and the boy side and everything, and she said that, again, I'm not saying that 4-year-olds are like, I'm trans all of a sudden and going to like get medical stuff or whatever. It's just that like you start to realize early on that these expectations do not align with the way that you perceive yourself internally. And so Blair White talked about...
Stop there.
Okay.
Stop there, yeah. They don't align with what you perceive internally. So you don't feel comfortable with these expectations. But what I'm trying to say is you can be uncomfortable, like you can be a boy, you can be uncomfortable with the expectations they have for you. And you're still a boy, whether you're uncomfortable or not.
True, because it's not just the discomfort, but it's the fact that the way that you identify yourself or the category or side of spectrum that you feel better aligns with you, that oh fuck, I lost my train of thought. Shit, I knew exactly where I was going with that. Could you say the thing you just said again? I'm so sorry.
I'm saying that you can literally be a boy. It doesn't matter if you're uncomfortable with all these expectations.
Right. Yes,
you're still a boy regardless if you're uncomfortable or not.
Yes, you're right, but it's not just because you're uncomfortable with expectations like, oh, I'm a boy and they want me to go play sports and I don't want to, so now I'm a girl. No, it's not just the discomfort with that. It's the fact that your internal perception aligns with something else. It doesn't align with what you are being expected to do. So it's not just, oh, I'm a boy. No, it's that society is treating you and identifying you a certain way that is a major misalignment from how you are viewing yourself internally. There is a mismatch, and that is being trans.
I see what you're saying. You're basically saying if you're born like a male, and society starts looking at you as a boy, they have these expectations as you as a boy, and you don't feel comfortable with that. You actually like the expectations that girls have. So that's why you internally switched to it. Is that what you're saying? You like the expectation of
no,
you don't feel comfortable.
It would be that okay, yes, to a degree, sure. But that's, I mean, the reason that my initial instinct there was to push back was because it's a little bit more nuanced than that, obviously. It's not just like, oh, it's the expectations. But yeah, it's the social category and role that you feel you better align with internally based on the way, just based on the way that either you see yourself. I don't fully understand it, mind you. I don't know entirely how it works. I'm not trans. I don't understand completely how the mismatch originally occurs, but there is a mismatch there, and it's pretty easy to tell early on. And that mismatch is just the person having an internal sense of self that aligns with the different side of the gender spectrum, more or less. So that's why a woman can be someone whose internal perception aligns with what we culturally view as being feminine, and you can be biologically male.
But the thing is, we have to look at why those expectations were like created to begin with, because we understand the reason they're created like that is because of the difference between a female and a male. That's why those were created in the first place.
There are a lot of expectations that have nothing to do with that. actually. I mean, there's a big one all about like women should be nurturers, caregivers. Like it's disputed whether or not women are actually just naturally always better caregivers. That might not even be the case all the time. We don't
they
like
nat-
and
they
all
naturally like go to that.
okay, but the expectations, at least the majority of them, do nothing but hurt things now, right? So like
Okay, it
women
can
should be
hurt
caregivers
things,
and
change
men
it.
should be off working. Well, what if this family unit works better with the man being at home and the woman's off working?
Okay, that's fine. That's still fine, but it doesn't change.
So why does
them
the
from being a man for
expectation, I know it doesn't, but why does the expectation need to be that you are a man, so your role is to be out working? Why does that
because
expectation need to be enforced? That could just be the norm, but if people want to deviate from it, so what?
But you got to understand why people feel like that. They feel like that because from the beginning, that's how it was. So obviously, as time goes by, people gonna start feeling like that's what women should do because
Yeah,
they
but
were already doing that to begin with.
sure.
It doesn't either way. It doesn't change whether they're a man or a woman.
I'm not saying the
Regardless, like
expectation is changing whether or not they are a man or a woman, or whether or not they are externally fitting into that expectation. That's why I'm talking about the internal perception. So you're advocating for expectations. You're saying, are you saying that because they've been like this for a long time, that's why we should keep perpetuating them? Because you have to understand that's a pretty bad way to go about things.
I'm not saying we have to keep perpetuating them or whatever. I'm saying the reason. I'm just telling you the reason people are doing it. I'm not saying women should be caregivers just because that women usually go towards that. They don't have to be. If a woman doesn't want to be that, that's fine. If a relationship works better,
But it
the
hasn't
other
even
way
always
around.
been that way. Like you're this is why the biology thing is so flimsy. You're like, well, it's just always been like this. You know that
So where did it come from? Someone just brought it up out of nowhere.
Communal parenting was a thing, if I'm not mistaken, for hundreds of years, where entire tribes would raise children. This modern nuclear family thing, quote unquote, is actually relatively newer, all things considered. So no, this is not just like, it's just always been like this, bruh. It's that things change. People get really comfortable in what they're familiar with. That makes them uncomfortable to see deviance from that. They're not sure why. They get uncomfy, and that's that. That's unfortunately what a lot of people feel like. But at the end of the day, I have nothing wrong with on average right now, men are the ones at work and women are the ones at home with the kids. If that's what they want to do, go for it. More power to you, man. But I don't like the notion that like you are a man and the expectation for you as a man is that you need to be making the money, you need to be out working, because then if you're not doing those things, that means you're less of a man.
It's just the issue with this is just if you can just wake up in the morning one day and just say, I feel like a woman, and you can just turn into a woman that easy. If it's that simple, like you don't see how, because you talk about the problems these expectations have, you don't see how that could bring problems. You just wake up
I
one
would
day.
definitely see that would bring problems if that was how things were really going. But most of the case, that's just not how it is. Most people, when they say they are trans, tend to be sincere in that belief. There's not like a huge group of people waking up and just saying, because I feel trans. It's not just because I feel either like that. It's not just because I feel.
No,
It's
you
the
can't
internal
define
identity.
sincere. How do you define sincere? How do you don't know that? You don't know because
Okay,
the
then you're
other guy
disproving
said
your
he likes
argument right now. So if the majority of trans people are, well, wait, you would determine it based on, do they continue living as trans? Are they up to anything else shady? There are stats you can look at how like people throughout their life as trans and whatnot.
Oh, so you're saying you have to live a certain way to be a woman because
Holy
when
shit.
you were
I'm not
debating the
saying you
other guy,
have to do those things. I'm saying that's how they would track the sincerity of it. But regardless, if you're saying they don't know or we can't tell who's sincere and who's not, then who are you to determine that they're not sincere?
okay, but why would we determine it like that then? That's very dumb. Like if someone just says, let's say someone doesn't live up to those they track it and someone isn't acting like a woman, they still acting the
Dude, I was
same
giving
way.
you an off-the-cuff example because you said there's no way to determine sincerity. And I brought up how there are some studies you can look at of multiple trans people throughout their year that continue to be trans. So it seems as though the majority of trans people continue, based on what we can measure, to be trans. Come on, man. I'm not saying
I
that we
mean,
track their mental
yeah, that's
brains
just
or
how you're
anything.
measuring, but you're not really measuring everybody, are you? Because with that definition,
Of
because
course
you
you're not
can
measuring
literally turn
everybody.
any way.
Okay, here's a question for you. I'm
Exactly. I
going to give you
mean,
the same one I gave to the other guy, okay? What does it mean to be a Christian?
to be a Christian, you just following all this stuff they do as a Christian.
Were you ever raised Christian or anything? Just out of curiosity, I'm not. But this isn't a Christian debate.
Yeah, but yeah, I know. Yeah, going to church and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, well, I was raised like really Christian, and the Bible says specifically that in Romans, to be saved, to have eternal life, to go to heaven, all the Christian stuff, one must believe in their heart that Jesus Christ is Lord and profess with their mouth that God rose him from the dead. So what that means is that there are people who have a belief inside about themselves, and they view themselves as being sinners in need of God, and they view Jesus Christ as being Lord. If they never go to church, are they still a Christian?
I accidentally got a call. But yeah, if they don't ever go to church, I'm not saying you can't be Christian. Yes, you can
Okay,
be
cool.
Christian, but that's completely different.
No, it's not, because we're talking about an internal identity and perception. We're talking about no requirement to go to church or to wear a Christian shirt or to be out loud and proud. Hey, everybody, look at me. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. You don't have to do any of that in order to be a sincere Christian. And then last but not least, we don't know who is a sincere Christian. You don't know who's actually a sincere Christian, because sometimes the people that go to church every day, right? But
I agree with you. But I don't agree with you with the gender thing.
But this is the final part, okay? Somebody could wake up tomorrow and decide they're a Christian, and guess what? The law protects them. You get legal protection from discrimination on the basis of religion. I could wake up tomorrow and decide I'm a Muslim. There is nobody that could tell me I'm not. So does that mean anytime someone says, hey, I'm a Muslim or I'm a Christian, you say, yeah, fucking bullshit. No, you're not. You can't tell.
Yeah, but what do you mean by the law protects them?
That you can't be discriminated against based on your religious belief. Someone saying, yes, you can tell who's a true Christian. Oh, and their name is the truth shall set you free. Oh, dude.
You shouldn't discriminate against anybody. That has nothing to do with just religion.
Okay, I think you're really missing my point I'm trying to make here. So let me try to break it down again. So right now, you recognize the validity of people who say they are Christian, and sincerity even, of people who say they are Christian based on nothing but an internal belief they hold. The same is said about a woman. A woman is about the internal belief or perception they have of themselves, and that is what holds the weight, what ultimately determines whether or not they are a woman. But similarly to the Christian thing, if you are a sincere Christian, odds are you're probably going to be making an effort to go to church and read your Bible and whatnot. Doesn't mean if you don't do those things, you're not a Christian, but it means that when you're a sincere Christian, there will most likely be certain signs. Same when someone says, I'm a woman, and then they are making an effort to present in a more feminine way, then yes, odds are, if they're sincere, they're going to take those steps as well.
Right. I completely agree with you with the religion part, but I don't think the woman thing and gender is a religion. I'm gonna explain to you
I'm not
why
saying it's a
disagree
religion.
with you.
I'm giving you an example of a different type of social
You're giving
identity.
me an example. You're giving me the example that you think is valid enough to be just like the gender thing. I'm gonna explain to you why I think it's different.
Okay.
Because of your definition of a gender, I don't think that's a good definition. There's another definition of what a woman is, and it's a female adult. And the reason you don't like that definition is because you look at all the expectations and you say it brings a lot of problems. Here are the problems that happen
women.
with
Wait,
your
no,
definition.
please, before you go further, because I really I need you to elaborate on that. What's an adult human female?
And a female,
Is it someone
who's
just with
born
a
as
vagina,
female.
or is it someone who needs to have a vagina and a collection of biological traits in order to be a female?
Well, so what exactly what you define as sex? Because you say
sex is chromosomes, sex is hormones, sex is genitalia, sex is secondary sex characteristics. There's a big collection of things.
Okay, yeah.
So
I'm saying, yeah, all
okay,
that.
That's
like,
why I was
affect.
asking you this question, and I'm sorry to keep cutting you down, but the reason is because there are women, people with vaginas, females that you would view as females, and women who have male chromosomes right now. Did you know that?
What do you mean by
There's
male
over
chromosome?
4,000 quote unquote girls born every year who have male chromosomes. There's
So
another
how are they
distinction
a
too, which
female
is
then? What makes
dude,
them a female?
would you
Like,
say they're a female? They have a vagina.
okay, but what do you think makes them a female? Since
Their internal perception and identity. That's why
no,
it doesn't
you
matter
said
what their
that's what
biology
gender. You
is.
said that's
Oh,
what
sorry.
gender was.
You're right. You said female. You
What?
said female. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad. A female is, yes, it's a collection of those things. So if they don't have those chromosomes, well, I would say, yeah, they're probably still a female based on the other side of those collection, the rest of it, I guess. But we don't have a clear
All right,
definition.
then.
Wait, hold on. So you can go that route too if you want. But we don't actually have a clear definition, clear cut. This is what it means to be female hardcore. Now there's gray area. What are those? What are people who have breasts, estrogen, and a vagina but have male chromosomes? Are they male or are they female?
Are they born with a vagina?
So is it just the
Like,
vagina then that matters?
I think that's a big priority. Like, are they able to? Because I want to say get pregnant, but I already know you're a little rebuttal to that. But if they're born with a man is not a male is not born with a vagina. So
True.
I think that at least that's the most important part.
Okay, yeah. So if you want to say vagina, that's female, fine. I'm fine with that. That's pretty basic anyway. So how do you know who's a female when you're walking down the street and then you don't look in their pants?
You don't know 100%.
Okay, so how do you determine that they're a woman?
You look at them. Women have certain curves to them. They don't
And what if
have
she
like
doesn't? There's other social things you look
yeah.
at,
There's
right?
other stuff. They don't have as big of an Adam's apple. Like,
Dude, come on. You see
It's
somebody walking far off the on the other side of the street. Okay, you're too far away to tell the size of their Adam's apple or their curviness or whether their chest is flat or
well,
not.
if I
Okay?
can't
What are
see
you
them,
looking
I
at?
don't
Come on,
know.
you're looking at the social. You're trying to caveat because you look at the social presentation first and foremost.
Okay, but check this out though. Check this out. Yeah, you might say, okay, I might concede that's what we look at. But the second we find out, like they say, the second we find out they are born with a vagina, we look at them as a female or a woman. Like that's literally what we look at them as. You can't
don't?
deny that.
You would not.
Yes,
I'm going to
we do.
literally
Yes,
send you
we
this
do.
picture right now, and you're going to see exactly what I mean.
Bro, I don't
Can
care
you
how
look at my
much
channel?
they look like a man.
Can you look at my channel? You're saying that if this person told you that they actually had a penis, that you would just never be able to not see this person as a man. You would look at this person and be like, yep, I want that person in the urinal next to me.
Hold on. It's kind of delayed. I'm kind of waiting for you to show
I know.
it.
It's still getting up. It'll be up there in a second. It's fine.
Okay, I see. So if I saw this person from the distance, I mean,
You look at this person up close. They have tits. Dude, come on.
I mean, from a distance, what you would think is a woman, I guess.
Wait, no, not from a distance. I'm saying you said if you saw somebody and perceived them as being a woman, but then you found out they had a penis, you would never be able to just not see them as a man. I'm asking you.
No.
A person with
biological penis.
You would never be able to see them as not a male then? If I
saw someone with a biological, I found out they had a biological penis, I would look at them as a male.
Okay,
like,
biologically male, yes, fine. But would you look at them as a man? Yeah, because you would
noted that I am an ape,
correlate
so I
them
should
or
go
you
F myself.
go off them the same, right? So I'm saying this is someone with a biological penis, okay?
Yeah, I think a man is a male. So yes, I would when I find that out, yes. But off looks, probably not.
But you said you wouldn't be able to help but see them as a man. And I'm asking now that you know this person has a penis, can you really not help but see them as a man?
Yeah, I'm not. I would never try to date this person because
I'm
now
not
I know they
saying
have a
you
penis.
need to date that. Oh wow, it's a little bit back, covered up still. Oh, it was covered up the whole
You're
time.
asking me.
Damn it! I'm
You're
sorry.
asking me without.
There you go. I
You
moved
asked
it.
me, do I still see this person as a man? And I'm asking you, do they have a biological
What if they had it
penis?
removed, like surgery?
Okay, if they had it removed with surgery, see, this is
Well, yeah,
this
no,
is
I know.
based on what you
This
know
is
and don't
honestly,
know.
you're right. We don't even need to go this route. It doesn't matter. I was
This
only
is based
showing
on
you
what
this image as an example of somebody who has a penis, but it's going to be very difficult to look at them as a man ever in any context.
You're right. Most people will see this person, and if they don't know that, they will look at them as a woman. I don't. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I'm saying that if you ask most people and you tell them the truth, now they will immediately look at them as a man.
Okay.
Immediately.
If that's what you
Like
want to
that's
say.
true.
But then again,
I mean,
thankfully,
that's
at the end of
true.
the day, that's not what determines the validity. So it's obviously based on how people look at you is going to determine somewhat how they treat you. But that does not determine whether or not you are valid. So even if people look at you and then say, "Oh, I have a biological penis, so now you're a man to me," like that doesn't really change the fact that a woman can be different from a female, and that a woman can be a sense of identity, like religion in many ways, whereas sex is far more concrete.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure if somebody, even if people looked at this person as a woman, and if they all find out that if a guy decided to have sex with her or him or
She's
whatever that
married.
is,
She's married actually to a
yeah,
straight guy.
I'm just saying, if a random guy decided to do that, guys would call him gay if they all knew this was a biological like.
Well, that's a conversation for another day entirely, which also breaks down this kind of shit because even like, okay, so what if you just made out with that person? You never did anything else besides made out with them. Are you
Well, if
gay?
we don't know the knowledge about them having
Even
a
if they
penis,
knew, but they
okay,
never
then
saw
that's
it. They
yeah.
just made
People
out
will
with that
call
person.
him gay. People will call him gay.
Okay, yeah, and that's what I mean is there is so much more to what it means to be attracted to like a woman. You're not just like, what's between their legs, bro? No, you look at their presentation, their appearance. Like there,
That's
there
called a
are,
trick. That's called
no, they're not. Here, I'll
manipulation.
show you one other picture now. Check out my stream. Okay? Your homeboy tells you that he just made out with this person, okay? At the bar. Is he straight or gay? He knew, by the way, that this person has a vagina.
Well, he knew this person had a vagina.
This person has a vagina, a biological vagina. They were born with a vagina.
Okay. Because you're giving these like crazy examples, right?
It's not that
I'm gonna
crazy.
answer like
It's
this.
what it's doing is
It
it's
is crazy.
exposing the dumb fuckery when you go based on biology. That it shows you how much you actually look at the presentation and not the biology.
You can look okay, but you can look at the presentation, but the presentation doesn't determine. That's my point.
You just said your homeboy would be gay if he made out with this person.
No, I actually haven't even answered yet. To be
Okay, so would he be
realistic,
gay or straight?
if my homeboy decided to have sex with this guy, I would say
No, not guy. Dude, woman. Remember,
woman
she
or
has a
whatever.
vagina. You can't
I
remember.
would
You
say
can't. Wait, yo, you can't help but see her as a woman now. Okay, come on.
Yeah, but there's nuance. So you trying to get me to give you a plain answer. I'm trying to describe to you how people would look at this. How most guys will look at this.
All right. Listen,
will
I
look
think
at this
most
as
guys
gay.
are going to look at this conversation and think that you need to do a little more research into this. But at the end of the day, thank you for calling in, my friend. I love you, and you have a good rest of your day. No homo. Okay. All right. Now I'm rating Chud Logic. I see other people in here. I'm sorry, guys. I've streamed for over 3.5 hours. Now I do need to take a break, and one that I've actually kind of even earned. Let me make sure that I check the super chat one more time. Make sure that I didn't miss anything. Oh, here we go. Toxican, thank you for the $5. There are biological males born with a uterus, though they also have a penis. Oh, I'm sure there is, yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. So proud of myself for streaming so long today. Woof. Good daddy. All right, everybody. Go and watch some Chud Logic. Make sure he knows I sent you all. Said, hey, what's up? And I will see you all. Let's see, tomorrow is Saturday. Maybe I'll stream tomorrow Saturday in the afternoon. Who knows? Peace out.